Merry Christmas. Oops, shit. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler. Tweet has been officially sent out. I expect all of you to do the same. If you would be so kind. Oh, okay. Pradeep wants out real quick. He went from content to quest. Hey, Feliz Navidad, Lils. Thank you for the 5. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. First donor of the night on the Christmas Eve stream special. I don't know what else to call it, other than the fact that I happen to be streaming on Christmas Eve. Stephanie, you did not miss the reading. We are right in the beginnings here. For the first 20 minutes or so, I'm going to chat with you guys. Welcome you in as you shuffle into our board meeting of spookiness. Fry, thank you for the reminder. Please do like the stream. Share this out on Twitter, Facebook, Instaslam. What other social media exists that shouldn't exist? Merry Penis, J-Man. Thanks, Jamal. I'm trying to have a merry penis. Are all penises merry? Is that just kind of like the way of things with wieners? The way of things with wieners. Retrospect. How are you? I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat before. I always love seeing fellow creators. Now I want to go to your channel because I'm curious. Don't worry, I do this to everybody who is a creator who wanders in here. I like staring at other people's stuff. Staring at your junk. Nice. What is this? It's video game content. Cyberpunk is broken.exe. Fuck yeah, man, dude, that game really got me on the disappoint vibe. If you feel me on that one, I'm sure you feel similar. I'm sure a lot of people feel similar, to be honest. I was, I don't know, I gave up on it a little bit early, but I was just like very, very excited to just sort of jump in, you know, no issues, whatever. And I got in, and for me, it was actually more of a performance issue, wink, wink, where I got out into the open world, which was really, you know, vast and impressive as for a cybernetic sort of world. And yeah, my frames dropped down to like 20. I hear there has been some hot fixes since then for both console and PC, but I don't know, I got into a vibe with it where I was just like, even if I feel like I've kind of gotten impatient with video games as time has gone on. I just kind of want to like get into it, you know what I mean? And I do really enjoy RPGs, but I just feel like something about it's really got to catch my eye for me to have the patience to sort of go through like the 4-hour tutorial process and all that kind of stuff. It just gets so like tedious that eventually I was like, you know, even with all the bugs fixed and all that kind of stuff, I'm not even sure. Am I even a true gamer anymore? Am I even a gamer anymore? Mina Lewis with the 8 Australian buckaroonies says, Merry Christmas, Joel. Thanks for putting me to sleep most nights. You're welcome, Mina. Thank you for the 8. Hope things are going well down under. And Kiera McCourt with the big $20 donation says, just a little Christmas support for all the great stories this year. Merry Christmas, Joel and Pradeep, from me and Sir Percival. Oh my god, that's amazing. It's a great cat name. Give Percival a big smoochie for me. Pradeep just saw his way out of this room. He was like, fuck it, you're streaming? I don't get any more attention? This is some bullshit. But thank you again for the 20. And Herbert Small with the 3 says, Merry Christmas, Joel. Thank you, Herbert. Good to see you back. Hope you and yours are doing well on this fine holiday evening. Nikki Newman with the 10 buckaroo says, hi, everyone. I love this space so much. Thanks for existing and creating this channel. Joel, this is a peaceful holiday indeed. Thanks for streaming tonight. I appreciate Let's Read Official. Thank you. Oh, geez. Jewel was getting out of hand in the chat there. Thank you, Fry. Just writing. Unfortunately, I don't speak of that language. I mean, like, I know some streamers always say, like, English only. You may have noticed that on Twitch, they'll say, like, English only, but it's just, like, keep everybody on the same page as far as communication goes, and obviously, nobody can say any bad words if I don't know what language it's in. Will MDE ever die? I don't think so. Doesn't seem that they will. No matter how many times I put my boot on their neck, they just don't go down. Kevin Gomez with the 5 says, Merry Christmas. No plans tonight? No plans tonight, no. I went over to my parents earlier. Well, that was a jump up in the music there. And, you know, my 2 brothers, they kind of have other stuff going on. And, you know, they've got their family's situation. They just, you know, I believe on my one brother's side of the family, they're kind of like apprehensive towards travel because of some autoimmune situations there that they're concerned about. And, yeah, I don't know. So it's just me, Ma, and Pa. And we were just fucking killing it watching The Grinch with Jiminy Carey, which is hilarious. Though I do kind of prefer the original animated one. And I haven't seen the newer animated one. Does anybody know if that's any good? Kevin Gomez with the 5 says, Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I already read it, Kevin. Thank you, Thank you, Kevin. Thank you again, Kevin. Katsuki Mills with the 10 says, Merry Christmas. Get yourself something and get Pradeep something too. Thank you, Katsuki. I shall. I am in the process of getting Pradeep a new watering hole. As I think it's just time. The other one's just not cycling water quite as effectively, and I want to make sure he gets the cleanest water for the young boy's tummy tum. Raven Westnidge with the 5 says, Merry Christmas, Joel, and everyone here. What a lovely way to spend the winter solstice. Hope everyone gets what they want and got what they want. Thank you, Raven. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited to hear if is anybody anticipating any big gifts? It's, as many of you know, it's weird as you get older, and gifts are, I don't know, gifts are just not quite what they were, or like maybe you don't anticipate them as much, or really at the end of the day, this year I just was giving out fucking cash money, dude. I was just making it rain on people, and just kidding. I don't know. I just figured that's probably the best way to go about things, because sometimes, you know, you go to buys, but it's something like a sweater or a fucking slow cooker or some shit, and they're just like, I could have used that to fill up my fucking gas tank, bro. Thanks. You know. So sometimes just raw currency is the best manner in which to go about things. Sandra with the 5 says, I felt it when Britney Spears said, my loneliness is killing me. Thank you for your streams. They make me feel a little less lonely for a few hours. You're welcome, Sandra. Hey, honestly, even though you guys support me like crazy, and I really appreciate that, and this is sort of a job, it also kind of isn't a job, because honestly, I love connecting with you guys, and I am just as lonely as you. And honestly, this is such a nice way to just, I don't know, connect with people and chat, feel loved and welcome. So I do really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you, Deborah, with the 5. Says, Merry Christmas, Joel. Thanks for all. Thanks for all you do for us. You're welcome, Deborah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Merry Christmas to you. It's crazy. Christmas Eve is here, and Christmas is in like 40 minutes, for me at least, on the East Coast, East Side. And it doesn't feel like it this year. It's a little bit different, you know. Earlier in the year, lost my grandfather. I'm not, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to say this to be sad or anything like that, but just kind of reflecting upon the year. It's been weird. Lost my grandfather, which took a huge toll on my grandma, and they both had been having, like, you know, and they're in their late 80s, in and out of different health issues, and right now my grandma's in the hospital related to some pneumonia symptoms and things like that, but she's actually recovering really well, and so that's been awesome to hear. But at the same time, you know, there's limitations on visitations and that kind of thing, and then just kind of like, I don't know, it just feels like families, at least my family, is just scattered, you know, scattered into the kind of distant tribes right now, and it's just tough, but that's why I appreciate you guys. Heather with the 5 says, Merry Christmas, Joel. Merry Christmas, Heather. Thank you for the 5. And Miss Molly with the 2 says, Merry Christmas, Joy. I love you. I love you too, Molly. Thank you. I had some questions about some cosmetic stuff. Just, you know me, trying to get into fashion modeling, as one does at 30 as a male. Thank you again. And Allison Weber with the 10 says, Merry Christmas. Thank you for the hard work you put in to give us such quality videos. Much appreciated as always. Thank you, Allison. I really appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you. Trying my best. I was curious what to do for, you know, tomorrow, but we got content lined up, and I want to get it out for you. I want to stay consistent, rain nor shine, even though I don't record outside or anything like that. I know that you guys are going to be there, so I want to be where you're at and get a video out for you tomorrow, as well as popping off on the stream. Trying to get people to cream, yeah. I can see the steam lifting off your head as we get that bread, oh yeah. Get that cheddar cheese from the deli, from the deli, yeah. Get that cheddar cheese. Letty Ramos with the 2. Thank you, Letty. Is anybody in here actually good at freestyling? Because I would honestly, I feel like I would legit pop into a Discord call just to like hear someone freestyle. Rap career too, dude. I'm trying to keep up. Oh wait, has Chills put out any like rap music in a while? I know like Corpse does, but like I haven't heard any new stuff from Chills in forever. I don't know if anybody keeps up with those guys or not, but I'd be honestly interested. I can work towards being a silver fox model. I have a shirt that, like, well, it was from like an elderly like workout crew that would come to the one gym. I liked wearing that around because people be like, isn't that for like retired folk? I'm like, yeah, bro, you gotta stay active in your retired years. Kevin Gomez with the 2 says, cool, bro. Cool.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, my mind is very dirty too. It's like impossible for me to do a freestyle without like making some sort of sexual 8th grade joke. My name is Chills. Brian Smith with the 10 buckaroonie says, there's a lot I want to say, but I'll keep this short. I'm a big fan of your channel since 4th grade, and I'm now in 11th grade. Merry Christmas from a longtime fan of your narrations. Damn, Brian, that's crazy, actually. Like, 4th grade, 11th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. That's fucking 7 years. Have I been on YouTube for 7? Holy shit, yeah, maybe. Literally, since you've been around since the beginning. Damn. That's so nuts to me because, like, I think about who I was in, like, 4th grade, and I think about who I was by 11th grade, and those are, like, two completely separate people. So to have, like, existed in somebody's life, for such a long period of time that they literally develop into an adult human being, that is fucking sick as shit. So thank you, Brian, for telling me that, and Merry Christmas, and best of luck to the next 7 years, my dude. That's crazy. This is Jess Paul with a 5, says, thanks for the gift of your storytelling, bro. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Thank you, Jess. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays to everyone. Hope we're all having a crazy night. Well, not a crazy night. A lovely night. A chill-tastic night. The God of Pez, they are. With the tenses, you now have my fiance and I saying, hey, listen, in regular conversations daily when we're going to bed. She asks, want to listen to Joel? And I've got her hooked. Cheers, my dude. Oh, man, that's cool. That's so wild. You guys are making me feel fucking immortal! Ah, I'm never gonna die! Oh, man. There's some funny fucking, like, Lonely Island. I watched this, like, documentary about the Lonely Island comedic song group with Andy Samberg and crew. And I didn't even... Did I already talk about this? I don't know. But I didn't even know that there was a third member of the Lonely Island. But it came to mind because one of their lyrics was like, I'm never gonna die. Like, it was just a really funny lyric. And, but in it, it's like, they do interviews with different celebrities back in their hometowns and kind of like see what made them who they are. And it was just like so funny because like there's this overarching storyline throughout the whole episode where they're like hanging out with family, going back to their high school, all this kind of, going to the markets and the record stores that they hung out at. And throughout all of it, there's like this one kid that they keep trying to like avoid, a young kid. And then in the end, they like see them like doing a shady deal with the kid in like a, park somewhere. And then they follow the kid and ask him. And then they come to find out that like all the Lonely Island music was actually written by a 5th grader, which is fucking funny. I don't know. That was just like such a perfect, like comedic, like sense of self-awareness. It's so funny. Hot Rod's a fucking funny ass movie too. Asherella with the 5 says, happy Christmas, my fairy god YouTuber. My 2020 was def better because of you. I've been a bad Let's Reader over the past months, but I'm back regularly now. Thank you, Asherella. I appreciate that. It's funny, yeah, it's interesting. Some people kind of like, I mean, I'm the same way. Sometimes I get off like certain channels for a while, then I come back and I'm just like on that binge, you know what I mean? Which is fucking interesting. It's just like, and I'm always curious like how people approach my channel as well. But there's always content building up for you, so some people kind of like that ability to kind of like let it all build up and binge it in one day. Binge all 48 hours of content in one 24-hour period. Lila with the 2 says, Merry Eggnog Day. I didn't, I've never in my life drank eggnog, and it's weird. I've never even thought about it, and I should drink some eggnog. But what do you put it? Did we talk about this last time? What do you put in What do you put in eggnog? But anyways, guys, Merry Christmas to you. Just to give you a little idea of what's to be expected tonight, we're going through 6 separate first date stories. So tonight we're doing first date stories, and then Monday, and hopefully I can stream on Sunday, but Monday will be New Year's Eve stories. So it's, you know, a lot of cool. I always appreciate the holiday season because there's just a lot of like good holiday videos, you know, ideas and stuff that are always piling up that I always have to eventually get to, and I appreciate that I can because 'tis the season. Valo Torres with the 2 says, "Have you ever had coquito?" Is that how you say it? Coquito? Coquito. Let's see.
Coquito.
Oh, okay, yeah. Coquito. I gotta say it like a robot. I've never had coquito. Is that what you put in eggnog? Eggnoggy. Drunk stream. Wait. New Year's. When is New Year's Eve? Oh, that's... Wow. December 31st going into a Friday. Whew. Maybe. If there's no, like, nothing going on, but most likely nothing will be going on because nobody does anything anymore, but... Thank you again, Valo. Yeah, maybe I'll have to get some coquito. Drink an eggnog for the stream. Just like vomit everywhere. Alright, my friends and dudes and dudettes and lovers and ticklers of all kinds. Let's spray some I'm gonna freestyle the story. I live here in New Zealand. And late in 2018, I got that feeling sort of lonely, so I decided to download the dating app Tinder and try and find myself a nice guy to go on dates with, maybe even find myself a long-term boyfriend. Okay, none of that flowed well, but that's okay. We're gonna switch over to Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Audible only to iguanas. So if you're an iguana, you're going to want to turn your speakers up. If you're not an iguana, you might not even hear it at all. So if you can hear this creepy music right now, you're probably part iguana. You had no idea this whole time. I'm going to lube my alive cream. This ain't just a live stream. This is a live cream. Did you ever hear someone cream live on air? Switch over to our beautiful reading screen from Mr. Robin Mikalsen. I hope he's having a beautiful Christmas out in Norway. I guess it's Christmas time for them all the time. Just a non-stop snowy mess. How's my day, Toonami? It's going good. Up next, Dragon Ball Z's scary stories. Angel, you're welcome. You're an absolute badass, and I'm thankful I found your channel. Have an amazing Christmas. Put booze and eggnog. It's the best. I need to. I guess that's the only way to drink it. Otherwise, I just feel like you're drinking like heavy cream or some shit. Also, it's kind of funny today. I got all excited. I strapped my bootstraps in. I put my coat on. I was ready to wander out into the winter wonderland. And I was going to go to a store that was going out of business, sadly. Sad news. It was going out of business, but they were selling pillows and various other bedderies for super cheap because, you know, otherwise, they just set the store on fire and get rid of everything, so they might as well sell it for cheap. And I've been meaning to do it, and I also wanted to go get a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. And of course, when I get there, the pillow store is fucking closed, and the Dunkin' Donuts is fucking closed. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Who would have expected any place to be closed on a Christmas Eve? Of all holidays. But no, I understood. I was like, well, I can take solace in the fact that I know that those people were at home with their families, even though they lost their jobs at the pillow store. The people at Duncan's, they get some time off. Have you ever checked out Dragon Ball Super, Joel? I've heard of it, but I wasn't sure. Is Dragon Ball Super like? Isn't that like like an abridged version, or is that like a full on like Dragon Ball GT like series? Because I'm totally out of the loop on that one. Up to be in a relationship with you I don't want is for you and your mom, really. What? Sorry, I'm confused. Sometimes I read messages out loud without. I should probably read them beforehand, otherwise It wasn't the My Pillow guy. Yeah, he's out of a job, man. He ran out of pillows. Everything's always open in NYC. I thought that a lot of stuff was shut down there because of mandates and shit like that. Alright, guys, like I said, 6 first date stories. We're going to kick it off with number 1. My first date with a killer. Dun dun dun. I live here in New Zealand, and late in 2018, I was feeling sort of lonely. So I decided to download the dating app Tinder to try and find myself a nice guy to go on a few dates with, maybe even find myself a long-term boyfriend out of it. I ended up matching with this guy who'd come over from Australia, and we chatted for 2 weeks before we finally met up. The conversation was quite light, nothing too heavy, and it was fun. Like I said, it was from Australia, so we talked about Aussie things, and I remember telling him how much I wanted to visit Melbourne. He said that he'd been there once or twice and started making recommendations for some great coffee shops that he knew of. He seemed like a nice, normal guy, and when we agreed to meet, I was happy to do that. But then maybe 5 or so... Whoops. Cobra Kai Season 3, so stoked. Nice. I heard that was a cool show. I'm just going to pretend like I don't even have an operating monitor to watch shows, because anytime anybody gives me show suggestions, I feel terrible. I just don't do them. But I want to. I feel like I need to organize like a show watching party on Discord or something like that. Would you guys be down with that? I don't know how we do it. How y'all like all? I mean, I've heard like there's an app called like Rabbit or something of that nature. Moan for the ladies, says Repster. You moan. You first. Do it like a zombie. Whoa. Brains. Vixa, you keeping count of my mistakes. Thank you, thank you. No shots, though. Nobody take any shots. I don't want to send you to your death. But then maybe 5 days or so before we were due to meet, he got really persistent and impatient. He would text me multiple times in a day, and if I didn't reply straight away, he would ask if something was wrong. And I thought it was weird that he was being so clingy after starting off so confident. He kept trying to bring the date forward so we could meet up sooner, and would totally forget if I had told him I was busy on a particular day, almost like he wasn't paying attention or didn't care about what I had to say. It was honestly really unusual for someone to be that persistent with me. I've had guys before who are maybe a bit persistent, but only out of a nervous excitement, a different kind of excited than this Aussie guy seemed to be. I just couldn't understand why it was that he could not possibly wait until Sunday, the day. The Boys is wicked. Yeah, I've heard of The Boys. It seems pretty cool. Seems pretty cool. Hey Alec, what's up, bro? You got a baby Yoda stuffed animal, by the way, one of my early gifts. Nice. I just couldn't understand why it was that he could not possibly wait until the Sunday that we'd arranged to meet. It felt very narcissistic, and I should have seen it as the red flag that it was, and just not met up with him at all. I had the messages saved on my phone for a while, so I have a record of the exact dates and times that he sent some of his messages. So on the 2nd of December, he messaged me just after 9 a.m. saying, "Good morning, how is you?" And again about an hour and a half later, I didn't reply to the first message because I was asleep, and I think he took it the wrong way because he said it was fine if I'd changed my mind and didn't feel like going on the date. That was when I messaged him back and confirmed that I would meet him later on that day. We met up and went to a place called Revelry. It's a very standard bar, very popular, and lots of people go there, but it's definitely more of a nighttime bar. I had never drunk there during the afternoon or the daytime, but it was open, seemed like it had a chill atmosphere, and he wanted to go there, so that's where we went. He was a bit bigger than the pictures on his Tinder profile showed, and it was obvious that he had put on a little bit of weight. He had big, distinctive eyes, and he was very, very clean cut. I mean, like his clothes looked freshly washed and ironed. He was also very well groomed, obviously took good care of his skin and stuff like that, like he was really good looking. I remember asking him a lot of different questions, and he just sort of talked at me. He tried to ask me a few questions, but they weren't very in-depth ones. I thought he was a bit nervous, to be honest, but that's not unusual for a first date. But things started to sort of unravel at one point because he had said one thing in messages about where he worked and a different thing on the date. I started to feel a bit uneasy, like I wanted to trust him, but as soon as he started to put on some inconsistencies, I began to wonder if he was just lying about stuff to impress me. Because he was from Australia, I asked him the whereabouts that he had met his Kiwi friends, and he told me that all of his friends were police officers or somehow involved in law enforcement. He said how he had met with them while out drinking in various bars, how they'd gotten to know each other over time, and they regularly invited him back to their places for barbecues and stuff like that. He also mentioned that his best friend from Australia was coming over to be a Crown Court prosecutor. That's when I noticed that a lot of the stuff that he was talking about kind of had this running theme to it. It kind of seemed like he was obsessed with that sort of thing, which, in hindsight, explains an awful lot. I think he was sort of trying to process something of the things that he had been up to over the... Whoops. Sorry. Lana Hayes with the $15 Reno says, what are you most looking forward to post-pandemic? Oh, fuck, I don't even know, man. Like, first off, thank you for the 15. I remember I had so much fun at, like, going to... And this is so weird. This was, like, barely a year ago. I mean, it was a year and a half, I guess, ago. But, like, going to... what was it, VidCon, and going to VidCon, you know, meeting new people, meeting people that I knew online, like Blame It on Jorge and That Creepy Reading and various other YouTubers and stuff, and just kind of being part of that environment where, like, it's just full of creators and, you know, everything that you've worked toward is sort of, like, manifesting in this, like, very real IRL social experience, and it was a lot of fun, you know, and, I kind of want to experience that again. I just want to experience a ton of things, and I feel like I really took for granted the sense of freedom that we kind of had prior to this, and it's frustrating, you know. I don't know. I don't really like talking about it because it just gets me worked up, but yeah, I would really like to go to some sort of con. That would be sick. Venus Flytrap for the $5 raise says, sorry I'm late. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Venus. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you as always. Thank you. And thank you again, Lana. I really appreciate that. Lena, hopefully I pronounced that right. Am I a faceless YouTuber? The modeling comment confused me. No, I'm a model. Silver sneakers model. Silver hairs. Silverback gorilla model. You just have to be out there looking for me. Just type in, like, sexy, you know, daddies, or I don't know, something like that online. I should be one of the first ones to pop up. I know. It's just weird because I feel like there's not a lot of, like, official things going on right now. Because obviously you're free to, like, operate, you know, within society to a degree, but it's just, you know, I don't know, just frustrating. I think he sort of... Oops. Sexy lumberjack cat daddy. Yeah, that should be the #1 thing to come up on Google. You thought it was a foot model? Ooh. Gonna need a fresh toe licking to clean these tootsies. I think he was sort of trying to process something of the things that he had been up to over the previous few days, and it came out in his Sorry, this is weird. That's a weird sentence. I think he was sort of trying to process something of the things that what story? This is story 1, Becky. I think he was sort of trying to process some of the things that he had been up to over the previous few days, and it came out in his conversation style. He obviously thought an awful lot about policemen, dead bodies, and ways people can be killed, prosecution, justice, and the court system, and it just came out in a very strange way like that on our first date. Like I said before, we talked quite a lot about him being friends with lots of different policemen, and he went into quite a bit of depths regarding the details of certain investigations that they'd apparently shared with him. He said they were having a really tough time around that time because bodies going missing in the... Oops, how do you say this? The Watakir? Darren Millar with the 4 Canadian maple syrup does says, "Hi, Merry Christmas." Merry Christmas, Darren. Thank you. Good to see ya. Joel and the toe licking. He just doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop with it. Toe and the Joel licking. I know. Toes just don't stop licking me. How do you pronounce this? Let's see. Might have it on Forvel, my favorite new website that I get excited about, and then there's no pronunciation for it. Okay, I guess that doesn't work.
Waitakere City.
Waitakere, okay. Waitakere, okay. That sounds illegal. Merry Chrysler. Merry Chrysler, everybody. He said they were having a really tough time around that time because of bodies going missing in the Waitakere ranges. He told me that police corpse-sniffing dogs can only detect decaying flesh. What's the donation sound say? It says, "Hey, listen." It's from Zelda. I kind of altered it a little bit. He told me that police corpse... Shit, sorry. Can't say this for some reason. He told me that police corpse-sniffing dogs can only detect decaying flesh about 4 feet deep under the soil, so if the bodies are buried any deeper than that, the police won't be... Oh, dude, I'm all fucking dyslexiaed out right now, sorry. Some of these, like, what do you call them? Like, I don't say they're run-on sentences at all, not at all. It's just like, sometimes there's just like, I need like a breath in between them and I can't quite find that rhythm. He told me that police corpse-sniffing dogs can only detect decaying flesh about 4 feet deep under the soil, so if the bodies are buried any deeper than that, the police won't be able to find them. I thought it was a bit of a morbid thing to talk about on a first date, but it was an interesting fact nonetheless. We also got into a conversation about all the different kinds of poisonous snakes in Australia, and he became quite animated about that. He obviously had a passion. Why did I say that like that? I don't understand. All of a sudden, like, my mouth just takes over and is like, we're gonna say this like a fucking crazy person. Use pigs, they can sniff deeper. Interesting. Do they have corpse-sniffing pigs? Oh, it's snowing in Tennessee. Doesn't it snow a lot there? Because it's, like, pretty mountainous. We also got into a conversation about all the different kinds of poisonous snakes in Australia, and he became quite animated about that. He obviously had a passion for the natural world. It was quite out there, but I thought it was cute. I love animals too, so I was glad we had something in common, and it made me feel a bit more relaxed again. But then, right as I started feeling comfortable with him again, he started telling me this really bizarre and creepy story. He told me how crazy it is that a guy can make one little mistake and then go to jail for the rest of his life for it. He went on to tell me about this guy he knew back in Oz who had... Alright, this is a bit much to come out the gate with. It says consensual rough sex involving choking. Okay. Yeah, yikes. Broken up the peanut butter whiskey again could be the reason for the verbal dumplings. Verbal dumplings. He went on to tell me about this guy he knew back in Oz who had consensual intimacy involving choking with his girlfriend and had ended up accidentally killing her in the process. It assured me that the whole thing was a horrible, tragic accident. He assured me, what the fuck? He assured me that the whole thing was a horrible, tragic accident. How things just went wrong suddenly and how the guy was really upset because he loved her and would never hurt her on purpose. But still, the guy got done for? Sorry, this is like weird phrases. Connor and Cheyenne Vlogs with the 7 Canadian says, "Hi, my name is Connor and I love your videos and happy holidays." Thank you, Connor. Thank you. Are you guys vlogging your Christmas? But still, the guy got done for manslaughter and was sent to prison for a long, long time. What I know now is that this could have been him testing out his story on me. When he was able to see that I was a bit uncomfortable with what he was saying, he tried to... Man, I am not on a roll at all. I just burped. If it's not me fucking up, actually, it's my bodily functions just taking over. Hashtag free chills. We gotta get him out of my basement. What I know now is that there could have been... What I know now is this could have been him testing out his story on me. When he was able to see that I was a bit uncomfortable with what he was saying, he tried to change the subject so we could talk about more mundane things. I didn't try to make a swift exit or anything. I am quite used to dealing with all sorts of people, and I'm not saying people who talk about dark things on the first date are like bad people or anything, but it was definitely weird. We hung out for a while, but after about 3 hours or so, I made some excuse as to why I had to leave, and we said goodbye. As we were parting ways, he said, "My car is this way," and pointed off down a particular road. My car was down that same road, but by that stage, I was feeling uneasy and my instincts had just kicked in, telling me to walk a different way. He was also a lot bigger than me, so if something went wrong, I knew I wouldn't be able to defend myself. In hindsight, it was a good decision. It was my intuition sense. In hindsight, it was a good decision. It was my intuition sense. My brain was saying, this was strange, that was strange. And looking back on it now, it is really strange to think of who he actually was. I don't think it is in the realm of what normal human brains can comprehend, but just the day before we met up, the guy I was out on that first date with had murdered a girl in his hotel room, a British girl called Grace Mullane. The reason he brought up his friend accidentally strangling his girlfriend is because that's exactly how he'd killed her, although whether or not it was on purpose is another question entirely. Also, the reason he'd mentioned the... Oh fuck, how do you say that place? Wait, what the fuck? That was like 0 to 100.
Waitakere City.
Waitakere. That jumped from 0 to 100 real fucking fast. Laura with the 10 says, "Sorry I'm late, just woke up, I'm going back to sleep. I'm so super glad that you're here. Been in immense pain. How are you? Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for everything you do, Pat Pradeep, for me." Thank you, Laura. Yes, sorry, I hope your ankle is recovering. It's a tough thing to have to spend dealing with the holidays, and I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, get your rest. Get your protein, get all your good nutrients that you need to recover, go through your PT and do all that kind of stuff to just increase the blood flow to recover there and all that kind of stuff. So I do hope the best for you. Guys, never date a murderer. That is a well thought out advice there, I would also suggest. Also, the reason he'd mentioned the oh, I totally forgot how to say that after just listening to it.
Waitakere City.
Waitakere. Also, the reason he'd mentioned the Waitakere mountain range is because that's where he ended up disposing of her body. And all that other stuff about sniffer dogs was research that he'd been doing the previous night that was still sort of consuming his mind. It is hard to look back and think that that had just happened to her. From what I understand, while we were on our date, her body was still in that hotel room of his, hidden under the bed or something, wrapped in a blanket. That's nothing I could have done. Oops, there's nothing I could. Have any of my stories' narrations been animated? I do believe so. Yeah, a lot of random animations channels ask for permission. What must you tell me, Lila? It is hard to look back and think that that had just happened to her. From what I understand, while we were on our date, her body was still in that hotel room of his, hidden under the bed or something, wrapped in a blanket. There's nothing I could have done, and I know that now, but it is still really hard to come to terms with that. I do think if it had been a date in the evening, potentially I could have been a victim. I take a lot of solace in the fact that I do have my wits about me and do take safety and online dating quite seriously, and that is nothing against any women who are willing to go home with someone on the first date, but I do want to say to young women to take one more step in your thinking when you're on a date to see how well you know this person actually. Since then, I have been on dates with lonely, sorry, you can see where my mind is. Since then, I have been on dates with lovely, trustworthy men, but think, how well do I really know them? It has made me go a little slower and divulge a little less personal information to them. I know in modern dating it is quite common to give people your Instagram handle, but you are giving people access to a lot of personal information. It is really dangerous, and I just want to encourage people to take a step back and think before they do that. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back, taking it slow and pacing yourself a bit. Alcohol has a big effect. It is a part of the social fabric of dating and part of life these days, but it still comes with a massive risk. Women need to be really aware of how much they are drinking. Oh, I love you too, Lila. Thank you. Can I come visit you? Where at? Women need to be really aware of how much they are drinking on dates, and unfortunately drinks are sometimes spiked. We live in this world where people are still idealistic about how things should be on dates, but incidents like these take things back 10 or 20 years, where women are still having to grip their keys between their fingers or can't leave a drink on the table. We aren't as developed as we think we are in areas such as dating. Technology has got ahead of us. I think people are as they always are. I think with the advancement of technology, we thought we would become more refined, but we are just the same, but with new technology. I think the invention of dating apps is a wonderful thing, and I wouldn't want to live in a world without that, but I just wish for a world where women don't have to think about their safety all the time.
Hey, listen.
Connor and Cheyenne Vlogs with the 279 Canadian. Thank you, Connor and Cheyenne. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you, thank you. Kids asleep in bed with me, and my 6-year-old's just ripped a huge fart. Lol, it's funny. Like while sleeping. Yeah, there was a bit of like, I guess, word vomit at the end, but I guess maybe they just, you know, having been through that sort of chaotic experience, they're just like trying to like say like, Jesus Christ, guys, some of these people can fucking kill people. Be careful, you know. But IDK, that was yeah, that would definitely was like 0 to 100 really fucking fast. But I suppose that's how murder she wrote goes sometimes. The real Michael Jackson. Merry Christmas, Michael. How art thou? Joel is taken, lol. Don't I wish? I'm gonna buy some merch Fuck, dude. I drank the end of this tea, and since I mixed like stupid fucking the BCAAs in the tea, it like makes it pretty much like Kool-Aid tea, which is cool, but at the end there's just like little fucking granules of it like chilling, so it gets in my throat and makes me like cough. Also, I gotta change my pants real quick. I'm very sorry to waste your time, but I don't know why. Whenever I'm like, if I haven't like stretched appropriately, you know, because I like lift and stuff, bro. If I haven't like stretched out my hips from like squatting or deadlifting and that kind of thing, my the positioning of my hips get fucking tight in my pants. And it's just really uncomfortable to wear them, so I am taking them off. And there's nothing you can do to stop me, so just fucking, I dare you guys to come to my house and try to force these pants back on me, because it's not happening, alright? Nothing you can do. Dan Yells Quiet with the 10 says, I have a podcast and do voice work for ads, and I just wanted to do scary story narrations, but there aren't many women who do. Men are really good at honing in the scare factor. Happy Christmas, Harry. Happy Christmas, Harry. Oh. Well, or Dan Yells Quiet. Thank you, Dan Yells Quiet, for the 10 says, well, yeah, I thought you were going to ask a question, you know, like after saying that, but, you know, there's, yeah, you know, it's a little bit difficult sometimes, I think, or, you know, like within the realm of scary story narration, it's definitely very saturated with men and male voices, but that's not to say that there aren't a lot of female narrators out there. So, you know, definitely don't stop, never stopping. You know what I mean? And just keep grinding. You know, so I've noticed a lot of like girls, they, you know, for the who exist within the realm of like horror and stuff like that. Whenever they get into the sort of the documentary style stuff, I don't know if you guys probably remember like Kaylee Elise and Rainbot, you know what I mean, does that, and so many other ones. So like sometimes getting into the true crime / like, well, you know, even saying that, it's like, I'm not saying that's the only option. I'm just saying that there is a lot of like different approaches that people can do to have success within the realm of content creation. So sometimes you just kind of have to find your niche. It's hard finding that niche, you know, that pace that can keep you secure, or you know, you can find your audience. But yeah, never give up. Just keep grinding until you find what works for you. And thank you so much for the 10. And the God of Pez with the 5 says, hey, listen, it's now Christmas, so have a great day. I also want to hear about your trip later. Oh, nice, yeah. It was a good trip. I mean, it was just, you know, visiting friends in Massachusetts. It was just a day trip. Everybody ate snackies. Some of them had a smoky smoke, all that kind of stuff. But it was fun. I like little road trips, and it's always a good way to bond with people that you know, don't otherwise always get just online. You're thick, Joel, we get it. I'm sorry, no, but it's like sometimes that thickness requires no pants, you know. Wait, is the stream ending? No, the stream is not ending. I was just literally getting more comfortable. Does anyone ever else crack their hips? I crack my hips all the fucking time. I need to stretch them, you know, more frequently. Couch stretch, fucking pigeon stretch, all those stretches. It's like you tell yourself you need to do them, but then you don't. And then I think that's actually what contributes to like your hips cracking a lot. And you feel better after you crack them, because basically the way that I see that it progresses, it's like you got tight muscles, and then tight muscles lead to pulling of the bones, and then the bones lead to putting pressure on the nerves, you know what I mean? Or altering, you know, pressure towards the nerves. And then that's where the pain comes from. So if you can figure out how to find an appropriate like stretching regimen and, you know, maybe even a massage regimen with like whatever, if you use like a lacrosse ball or anything like that, or somebody can help you. It does make a huge difference in like the longevity of your body. You crack your skull, nice. Smash it against the wall. Hip cracking ASMR, please. Let me see if I got one. I don't think I'm going to. Sometimes my massive badonkadonk makes my pants too tight. It just explodes out the back. One too many twerks. I'm worried about if I have to twerk tonight, those things are just shattering into a million little threads. Is this science class? It could be. Not really though. I'm not as smart as Bill Nye. Laura with the 2 says, good night, see you next stream, love you much. Thank you, Laura. Sleep well, feel better. Thank you. Love you too. It's so hard to crack them sometimes. Yeah, I guess I kind of have my like little methods.
Hey, listen.
Raven, you're gonna stretch right now? Hell yeah, it feels good, man. Like, feels fucking good. It feels fucking amazing. Stretching is the best. It also helps you sleep too. After you stretch, you lay down and you're like, oh, it's time for bed. Whatever, stream live on cam, probably not. Just not feeling it, Not a fan of it, A few months back, I decided I was pretty much over the breakup I'd had during the summer with my long-term girlfriend. It took me months to be able to get over it, as I was really heartbroken, but at some point you just sort of have to get back on the horse, don't you? So I downloaded that dating app Hinge and started swiping through profiles. It's definitely the best dating app I've come across, as it lets you actually message girls directly instead of just sort of hoping that they're going to see you and match with you. So it definitely gave me a better chance at getting to talk to the kind of girls I'm into, and one of these was a Persian girl named Surashay. Surashay, that's a weird name. I gotta look that up to make sure I'm saying it right. Whoops. Surashay. Is that, anybody in here named Surashay? Surushay? It looks there are many great matches for... What the hell? Wait, Surushay? I don't know, honestly, how to say this fucking shit. Surashay. Pronunciation. I don't think it's just not... I wonder if it exists as Surashay. Surushi? Creepypasta-con, that would be fun. Surashay. I'm gonna say Surushay, that seems like more legit. You cracked your head on a cinder block when you were 6, 12 stitches across the forehead. Yikes. I remember one time I was drunk, I think it was before I was 21. I'll just Surashay? But one time, yeah, I was running, and I fucking was just stupid. I was completely faded and twisted on the two big things, and then I just was sprinting through a parking lot and near a gas station. I don't know why I was running. I don't know why I run. I get excited, you just gotta run. And I fucking tripped and just completely landed side head first onto one of those medians that keep cars from rolling forward, you know what I mean, in a parking spot. And the way that my skull caved in and then repelled off, I thought I was oh my god, I'm so fucked. I don't know, I guess if I was actually fucked, I wouldn't actually be able to think that I'm fucked, but I just thought I was so screwed. I thought my head was caved in and I thought I was dead, and that was it. But it was I almost immediately popped back up, and I asked my friend if my head was okay, and he's like, yeah, it looks fine, dude. And that was it. That was literally it. And I didn't have like any concussion, but the way, I don't fucking know. I don't know if it was because I was drunk and like it kept me soft, you know what I mean? But like, it was just like, I was like, whoa! And then fucking smashed my head on one of them. And then it was like totally fine. I don't know. It's so strange. But yeah, never get excited. It gets you in trouble. Alright, how do we say this name? Sarushe. I'm going to say Sarushe. Sarushe. And one of these was a Persian girl named Sarushe. Sarushe was honestly one of the most beautiful girls I'd ever laid eyes on. She had this big mess of wild dark hair that was dip-dyed blonde towards the ends, really high cheekbones, perfectly sculptured eyebrows, and some of the deepest, darkest, most alluring brown eyes I'd ever seen. She was simply stunning, and because she'd grown up in Tehran, the capital of Iran, I had something of an edge. You see, I speak a little bit of Farsi, the language they speak there, and I figured that might impress her if I told her as much, which it did, and boom. Only an hour or so later, I sent her my opener and we were chatting. She was an extremely busy person, and I was flattered when she said that she would make time to see me. So, we arranged to meet for coffee over the weekend. She showed up to our date in her gym gear and apologized for being so underdressed, but could only make it after a scheduled workout with her personal trainer. But I didn't care at all. She looked absolutely smoking hot in her yoga pants. And we were having coffee, just kind of chatting about our lives, our interests, all that first date kind of stuff, when I look out of the big glass windows to see this dude leaning up against his car. I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me at first, but after a minute or two I realized that he was just straight up staring at us. At one point, Sarushe noticed me looking over her shoulder and asked what I'm looking at, and I make a comment about the bloke outside who seemed to be proper eyeballing us. She then turns around, looking over her shoulder, then spins back with this terrified look on her face before saying something like, we have to leave, now. I'm all like, why? Do you know that fella? And she denies knowing him, but I'm not a dope. I knew what the score was, like straight away. Either it was a controlling family member or something, or it was a psycho ex-boyfriend. I figured all he'd do was follow us to try and be intimidating or something, but I never imagined he'd actually lay hands on me, and the way that he did it absolutely scared the soil out of me. You see, where I live is built up all along the big mile-wide river, and the coffee shop me and Sarushe had chosen to meet at was right on the docks. So we're walking along the city's promenade when the guy cornered me, grabbed me by the throat, and started pushing me back. Oh, Jesus. Once again, 0 to 100 here. What the fuck? What is going on? You become jelly when you're drunk. You can survive without major wounds. Oh, nice, yeah. It's pretty sick. I guess, yeah, if you don't stiffen up. Wrapping some presents, nice. Yeah, tell me some stuff that you got for people for presents, because honestly, sometimes it's like more satisfying to, you know, obviously buy people presents and stuff as opposed to getting stuff, so what is some stuff you got for your family and friends? You see, where I live is built up along this big mile-wide river, and the coffee shop me and Sarushe had chosen to meet at was right on the docks. So we're walking along the city's promenade when the guy cornered me, grabbed me by the throat, and started pushing me backwards so my back was leaning over the rails. I tried to get him off, but this bloke was an absolute unit, and as much as I tried, there was no getting him off of me. And the thing about the river where I live is that it's got a really, really strong current. Like if you fall off of a boat or over the side of the prom, you can be in serious trouble as the current will suck you under the water, drown you, and then just drag you out into the Irish Sea. So the whole time he's threatening me, telling me to leave Sarushe alone, all this big macho masculine stuff. Sarushe is smacking him around the head, telling him to get off me, and all the while I'm thinking, if I go over the edge here, I'm a dead man. And I don't think he had any idea of it either. Like it didn't sound like he was from our city, as we have a very particular accent, which he just didn't have. So he was probably thinking he could lash me in the water and embarrass me a wee bit and I'd just be fine, but I'm telling you now, I wouldn't have been, and he'd have been done for manslaughter. But thank God, he didn't throw me over the railings. He just sort of backed off and headed back the way that he'd come after he'd blown off a little bit of steam. I mean, the girl was gorgeous. I don't blame him for being a bit sore after a breakup or jealous of another lad, but Jesus Christ, if he'd been angrier, though. Rook X with the 5 buckaroonies says, yo, let's read. It's most optimum to stretch them fingers around that dono button. This is true. Thank you, Rook X. Just gotta stretch them long salad fingers directly over that dono. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Spinal. Stretch your spinal. Got any favorite Christmas films? Yeah, it was last time we were talking about Gremlins, but today I was watching The Grinch, and The Grinch is cool. Obviously, Elf is a top-notch one. Apparently, Die Hard is a Christmas film, but I'm down with that. I've never actually given Die Hard a full watch through. I've just seen like bits and pieces, and shit, there's so many good ones. Spinal. Just finish all the stretchings, your hip feels so much better. I know, right? It's crazy. And sometimes I don't really get into my stretching like routine until I'm like injured, which kind of sucks. Like, so if I get injured while lifting, which is unfortunate, like usually some sort of like back, twinge, it's like then I'm like hardcore into like stretching my hamstrings, stretching my hips, all the leg muscles that then translate up to the back and take tension off the back. And then you feel like a fucking, yogi at that point, but you got to keep up with it all the time, otherwise it's not going to have those long-term benefits. You need a hug, Joe. Somebody give Joe a hug. How do you stretch your hips? Yeah, so there's all sorts of different ways to do it. The ways that I prefer, there basically sometimes you kind of think, you got to think to yourself like, okay, there's a certain area that's giving me some discomfort, right? Well, what are the muscles that surround it, So like that's why whenever I was having low back sort of tension and pain, I was like, oh, okay, so like connected to the low back is your glutes, connected to your glutes is like your hip flexors, connected to there is your hamstrings, your quad, everything is connected. So if you can find a particular way to stretch those, it all translates upward, honestly, starting from your feet, even taking like a golf ball or a lacrosse ball and rolling your feet out and like massaging your feet on it, like while you're standing, is a good start. And then just working your way up with different things like calf stretches. So the things that I really prefer for hip stretches, besides like taking I use a softball or a lacrosse ball. Just you might want to start with a softball to kind of like build up, but basically I do like a flossing technique where you almost like roll those balls like onto your hips. You can find some videos that will probably like give you a better demo. But once you've kind of like broken up the tissues that are a little probably hardened from a period of time of tension, from there you can do what's called a pigeon stretch. The birds that shit on you in New York, the flying rats, so to speak. But yeah, so like a pigeon stretch is really good. You can do that, on your floor. You can also do a variation of that on like the edge of your couch or a box or some sort of table that's like at, hip height, and just like lean down into it and it really stretches out your hips. There's my favorite stretcher, and the one chiropractor I went to said it's probably the best stretch in the world, is called the couch stretch. So if you can imagine, you're bending your knee back like up against the wall, and it's kind of like dragging down to the floor, so the knee is touching the floor while connected to the couch or the wall. And then the other one is like kind of like forward. It requires a degree of like flexibility initially, but you can do it and kind of translate from there, maybe even put a pillow under your knee. So, but look that one up. That one's really, really fucking good for taking tension off your hip, off your hip flexor and your hips. And then I would also suggest some hamstring stuff. And then once you kind of do those three, maybe some side lunge stuff to kind of get the inner, get that groin area there. You'll feel real good. Hawk's gonna show us the pigeon stretch. We need to know some Hawk stretches. You need to break the muscle knot, but carefully. Yeah. So that's a little bit more prominent. But I mean, muscle knots can be prevalent anywhere, whether it's in your hamstrings, whether it's in your scapula area. But stretching is very, very important for helping with chronic pain. So do it, baby, do it. But Jesus Christ, if he'd been angrier, if he'd have lost his cool, really lost control, I legit wouldn't be here typing this. I'd be floating in the Irish Sea somewhere, maybe washing up as a rotten corpse on the beach in County Cork. In County Cork? What the fuck is County Cork? I'd be floating in the Irish Sea somewhere, maybe washing up as a rotten corpse on the beach in County Cork, all because of some jerk. All because of some idiot getting a bit jealous. Is that why you have chronic pain? I mean, it just depends on where your chronic pain's at. But you might come to find that, like I said, like your pain is originating from a nerve, right? So that nerve is probably feeling pressure because of tension from a muscle or joint or bone that is completely directly connected from your tissues. And pretty much you can't really necessarily grab a bone and stretch a bone, but what you can do is you can on your own accord loosen up the other tissues, which include muscle primarily and various other tissues. But and then once those are loosened up, that's why a lot of when you go to the chiropractor, sure, they can crack you, but most of the time you'll notice that before they crack your bones back into alignment or whatever you want to call it, they'll actually first do a bit of stretching with you beforehand, and that can you might have some slight scoliosis, but the doctor never told you what to do about that. A friend of mine had scoliosis. She went to a chiropractor and physical therapy for about a year. I think the physical therapy was probably the most helpful thing because it just basically took her through various just stretches and range of motion exercises and things of that nature. And it can help, but it's never going to be an end-all be-all if it's something that's sort of genetically built into you and potentially might not be able to be altered. But basically, just try to isolate what is giving you the issue, and then YouTube is a great, obviously a great source for finding this information and finding intelligent people that can take you exactly where you want to go. How much can I lift? That's a good question. Well, my squat is pretty strong. The other day, I really enjoyed this one sort of thing that I did where it was basically I was doing a normal squat progression, linear growth, but then there would be the other days where I would do deadlift and then directly go over to squat, and it was build up to a heavy 3, and then after you do the heavy 3, you do a reps of 20. And that was fucking probably the hardest I've ever worked. Not ever, but just while heavy lifting, it almost made me feel like I was doing cardio. But basically my heavy 3 for squat was 435, and that was fucking pretty bonkers. I mean, as far as what my body was capable of, I was just wow, this feels like my absolute max for 3 reps. And then after that, it was something like fuck it, for 20 reps it did 3, close to 335 or something. I don't know. It was it was basically 75% of whatever 435 was, but was additional weight and stuff as the weeks were progressing. And doing heavy reps, I mean, the cool thing is as you go heavier in weight, you'll, even though it's like really heavy, or a particular weight prior to that might be heavy normally, your nervous system is just like activated, right? So your nervous system is just like, let's fucking go, you know? And so like after you do some really, really heavy weight, you can, you know, go down to a weight that otherwise would be really fucking heavy normally. But then all of a sudden I was doing 20 reps on it, you know what I mean? But afterwards I gotta like lay there on the ground for a while because my fucking legs are just completely shot, and it was a good time. All right. Hey, Miwoo, good night. Squawk. No squatting, just squawking. You swole? You juicy, bro? With a sultry voice. Thick. Okay, so before this whole lockdown thing happened and my dating life... Oh, I see. You have a wonky L4 vertebrae and pinched nerve. Unfortunately, chiropractic only made it worse. PT was a godsend. Yeah. Sometimes chiropractic, like... It's addressing issues within the alignment, but, like... I don't really think you need, whenever it's specifically on a nerve, I don't think you need, unless they know exactly what they can identify and they're really intelligent, but sometimes chiropractic just kind of like throw their body into you, you know, without even knowing. They're just like, well, I do this every time, so this one should work, but each person's body and circumstance is going to be different, and, you know, that's why sometimes when you can take it a lot more easy with stretching processes, like that's probably going to give you a better outcome besides just like somebody like slamming their body into you to crack a fucking bone, you know, though that can be helpful as well and make you feel really good, but usually more so in conjunction with stretching first. Okay, so before his, and my dating life went to hell in a handbasket. So before this whole lockdown thing happened and my dating life went to hell in a handbasket, I used to swipe through Tinder and Bumble quite a lot, looking for girls to hook up with. So I'm bored in my silver-like apartment one day when I come across this absolute smoke show of a girl who was listed under the name Lilith. She had these big green eyes, wore pigtails a lot in her profile pictures, and had absolutely no qualms of showing off this big peachy butt she had. She also had this goth girl vibe going, which was something I find really attractive. I mean, she was definitely not the kind of girl I'd bring home to mom, but that's not really what I'm looking for when I'm swiping, so naturally, I swipe right. Boom. We match. I think it... Oops. I think I actually let out this involuntary "no way" when the old "it's a match" text appeared, and kinda cynically told myself, nah, she's a bot, this isn't real. But yup, it was real, and she was so cute to talk to. At first anyway, because things started to go a little different when we actually met up. She worked at this coffee shop at the Getty and asked me if I wanted to pick her up after her shift so she could take me somewhere real special, which turned out to be the Museum of Death on Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, not my ideally romantic place to go on a first date, but like I said, she was a slam piece, and it was basically impossible to say no to her. So it was decided, and after I picked her up, she kept it a mystery for a while, only telling me to drive her to Hollywood Boulevard before revealing where she actually wanted to go. The area around the museum is kind of sketchy, but again, I'd have driven through way worse neighborhoods for a date with this girl, so I just pushed all my concerns to the back of my mind. Despite the interior being as dark and dingy as it was, looking like an over-clustered basement, the whole thing was actually kind of interesting at first. But I'd be lying if I said my eyes stayed on the exhibits the whole time. when they were pretty much glued to her butt whenever I wasn't going to get caught looking. It most definitely wasn't particularly creepy either, but the things that Lilith started to say to me as we were walking around the place did in a big, bad way too. Like I said, the exhibits were interesting, but that's all they were aside from being gross and spooky. There were death masks, body parts preserved in formaldehyde, all the things you might come to expect from a place called the Museum of Death, and then some. But this Lilith chick starts saying how pretty some of this stuff is, looking at it the way any other girl might look at a picture of a puppy or something. She then starts asking me all these weird questions about how I'd like to die. Yeah, how I'd like to die. I tell her I wouldn't like to die at all. I mean, it was legit the creepiest question I think I'd ever been asked, and she insists that everyone has a way they'd most want to die. I don't want to screw up the date or anything. She seemed crazy, and crazy girls can be real fun, if you catch my meaning, so I give her some throwaway response like, whatever way is most pain-free. She starts telling me how that was a boring answer, and how she'd like to die of hypothermia because it apparently makes you feel all warm and sleepy towards the end. How some victims of hypothermia have even taken their clothes off before they died and just laid down in the snow or whatever before their heart stops beating. She also then gave me this long, in-depth speech about how taking another person's life would be better than even getting intimate, if you catch my drift. How that feeling of pure power must dwarf any feeling that drugs or alcohol have to offer. She then tells me how hot she thought it would be to watch me drown at the bottom of a pool while there's an audience and I'm totally naked. How it'd actually turn her on to see my final moments of desperation before my body went limp and floated around the tank. Then something about how the Vikings would make wings out of the skin on a person's back by peeling it off and spreading it out, calling it beautiful, how it was like art or something. When she's done telling me all of that, and I'm suitably freaked out, she starts calling me pet, and how she wanted me chained up at the end of her bed so she could do whatever she wanted with me. Now, any other girl, I'd think that was incredibly kinky, but after what Lilith had just talked about, I really didn't think what she had in mind for me involved any kind of pleasure whatsoever. When it came to driving her home, she actually told me to stop a few blocks away from her house because she didn't want me to know exactly where it was that she lived at, saying that you couldn't be too careful these days with all the psychos in the world who use dating apps. Yup, she said that to me after she'd spent like an hour talking about all the ways she'd want to die or how she'd watch me die. As soon as I got home, I blocked her number. I've never been more scared of anyone like that before, let alone a girl I wanted to hook up with. So Lilith, if you're reading this, let's not meet again. Oops, my fucking voice cracked. My voice cracked. Ew, the Blood Eagle, beautiful, ew. Yeah, remember that in, have you guys seen Midsummer? Remember the Blood Eagle in that? That was fucking creepy as shit. Isn't that what the Midsummer, like, culture was based off of? Like, some sort of, like, Nordic, you know, Viking type religion, cult stuff? So, Lilith, if you're reading this, let's not meet again. That's funny reading your responses. Yeah, he's a perv and she's creepy. The perfect mix. They're actually in love with each other. Midsummer was a trip, yeah. But is there an actual death museum in Hollywood Boulevard? Because that sounds kind of interesting. You haven't seen it? Is it good? It is good. Yeah, it's pretty out there for sure. A standard goth date. Who's gonna take me on a goth date to the Death Museum? I'm ready. As soon as we are free to wander about the cabin of Earth again, I shall be going there first. What's the noise between stories you always wondered? Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Download. It's just like a thing that I got from a stock footage or stock, audio site that I just kind of adopted as my own. Though I'm sure other people, if they've ever used that site, Epidemic Sound, probably have stumbled across it at some point. Let's see. I don't even know where to go, to be honest, to find it. New? Oh yeah, okay. Project Necessity. Let's see. One of these things. Do I not have it? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Fuck, it actually closed me out of my other music that was playing, but I do really enjoy that sound. Fuck, where am I at here? Downloads. Music. Audible. There we go. Sorry about that. Wah, wah. You just nutted. Nice. When is Joe gonna burp? I don't know. I've been just drinking Wawa. Last goth date was hectic as bruh, but still went on another round. Hey, there you go. Did she cover you in black paint? Because if she's not gonna do that, is she really worth your time as a goth babe? You went to a place that had torture devices on display once. Interesting. Man, it's so scary to think, like, there's just, like, so many like, imagine, like, I don't know, existing in a culture, in a world, or at a time where torture devices were just, I don't know, used regularly on literally anybody. I don't know, it's crazy to think the history of humankind. And it's strange to think that that shit probably still exists today, you know? That transition music reminds me of some of the save songs in Resident Evil 4. Oh yeah, I think I kind of know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like, whoosh, but it has more of like a windy sound to it, like, whoosh. Like, ah. Yeah, Resident Evil. What are you buying? Let's do a Let's Read meetup at Hollywood Forever for creepypasta dating together. That would be cool. Oh, Japanese. Wait, I really like the one from the second Japanese ghost story you read forever ago. I wonder which one that was. Oh, the transition sound, or? Yeah, they'd watch the tortures and just go about their day. Yeah, I know. I think about that, like existing during, like, you know, like in gladiatorial times, like they talked about, what was it, like circus and bread or something like that. Like as long as the people, the peons had the circus and they had bread, they were fine. It's just weird to think that the circus for them was the gladiatorial games, you know, 100 days of just games, you know. But it's not just games, it's fucking like random prisoners and slaves and all sorts of like people, you know, ex-warriors and stuff trying to gain their freedom. And all, you know, and then that's where they could die, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's just fucking strange to me. Edward Sanderson, just talking about people getting killed. Have I played Dying Light? I have, yeah. And, you know, it's so funny you bring that up because me and my buddy are actually just restarting the campaign of Dying Light, but like as doing it cooperatively. Unfortunately, like around the time that we did it, my computer froze and then he had to go to work. It was like yesterday, but I hope to jump into that because, I mean, how old is Dying Light? When did the Dying Light release date? Okay, January 26, 2015. That was more than 5 years ago. And that game still, in my opinion, is like one of the best zombie games you could play. It looks amazing. It's smooth. The fucking parkour is like clean. The fucking melee combat is clean. You know, the shooting is clean. There's driving mechanics and a lot of, and they're still updating like DLC for it and stuff like that while they work on number 2, which is so wild to me. But it's honestly like, it's a very impressive game. And I think one of the coolest things is like the second you go outside, it just feels like a very lively world. Like one of the things that I saw in that game that made it feel very like next gen, because interestingly enough, I think it was like one of the like very pure like next gen games to come out around that transition time onto the PS4 and Xbox. I don't even know what the fuck, the Xbox One. It's so hard to keep up with their names, but yeah, it was just like the lighting, but also like the wind, like the fluttering of the foliage. Like you'll see palm trees, and you can see the wind fluttering through it, and just like, you know, cans on the ground like rolling, and in the distance you can see like like flocks of birds like flying. It just like, it looks very alive, you know, and like, you know, the streets are riddled with really cool parkour movement that you can do, but it's also very tense because there's zombies everywhere, and you know, some of them are fast, some of them are, you know, slow. You know, you might just run through, get like a head, you know, chop off their heads like fucking butter and just keep moving. But then at nighttime it's freaky as fuck, because like you actually have to be stealthy, because the zombies actually get more aggressive at night, and there's some like really crazy freaker zombies that can fuck you up. And but there's like, I think there's like more like better loot at night, some shit like that. I don't even know, but it's pretty wild. It's a really good game. And the fact that there's co-op, you know, like that's so cool to me. God of Pez with the 5 says, cheapest Xmas present ever. Tell my fiance Eva that she's beautiful. I promise you she is. And she's a newfound fan as well. Oh, thank you so much, Pez. Eva, you are beautiful. You are an angel. And you deserve everything. You deserve the world. I will give you the moon if you so desire. Thank you guys. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. Joel Party playing some Call of Duty, COD War Zombies. You know, Cold War Zombies like didn't impress me, like, and the reason is that like they have not, like, Call of Duty has not really updated. Like there's been updates, but it still feels like the same game engine. And I'm telling you, dude, it is the same game engine with a new coat of paint since fucking like 2007. Believe you me. It is the same fucking engine, which I think is the same engine prior to that on like, you know, Call of Duty 2, when it was still like World War II and shit. And it's just, I can't do it, man. I'm just like, it feels like the same shit over and over and over and over and over, and you still see some of the same recycled animations, and it's like, you know, some of the sound design in the newer Call of Duties is really, really good. Obviously that's something they can't really like keep the same, but I can understand to a degree why those games are able to pump out so many different ones with different studios, because I don't really feel like they've changed their game engine in forever, but it's like they're not going to, if their sales continue to blow, you know, previous like record-breaking sales out of the water every time. You might as well not fix what's not broken, in their opinion. But in my opinion, what's not broken in their eyes is, you know, not very novel or exciting to me, you know. Okay, let's keep cracking on. You're a diehard Zombies fan. No, I don't disrespect people that are diehard Zombies fans, because it seems like a lot of fun, but I don't care, you know. Do I like Metal Gear Solid? And Merry Christmas. Thank you. Metal Gear Solid was one of those games that I never had an opportunity to really get into, because I think I tried Metal Gear Solid 2 in middle school when it was out, and I just sucked so bad at like stealth games, especially that like a little bit more complex stealth game. And then there was Metal Gear Solid 4, I think came out on like the PS3 or something, and I was playing it on my roommate's like PS3, and I just didn't have the patience for it, I guess, you know, at the time, and couldn't really get into it. It looked cool though. The multiplayer looked neat too, but it just didn't really have much community to it. Have I played DayZ? I never played DayZ. You're a diehard Ricky fan. Who's Ricky? You might be able to describe 17-year-old David Faraday as the all-American boy. David was clean. Actually, let me look up how to say Faraday. I just want to make sure I'm saying that right. One second.
Faraday.
Faraday, okay.
Michael Faraday.
Faraday. Michael. Ricky is your dog. Oh, nice. That's funny. Oh, Pradeep wants in. Let me see if I can get Pradeep to come in here. And you can hear him purr. I remember one time I actually ruined Christmas because I was like at elementary school or something. And, you know, my older brothers and older cousins, they were so cool. They were the coolest guys ever. And, you know, we were doing snowball. Can I post more pictures of my cat? I should. Yeah, I can take more pictures of Pradeep. He deserves a good photo shoot at some point. But, like, I wanted to be so cool, like my brothers and stuff. And we were at my, like, great-grandma's fucking house, you know, at this for Christmas. So it's, like, crazy going, like, way back. And you know, like there was we were just throwing snowballs outside, and I remember like my older brothers like joked about like this one old man who I didn't fucking know who he was just old as shit, you know, just like when you're a little kid you're like, oh yep, that's like your run-of-the-mill old guy at whatever festivity I'm at. And he was just walking out, and my cousins, I think, like joked during the snowball like throwing fight that they should throw one at him, you know what I mean, or just like motion towards it. And I just said, fuck it, you know. So I, being, you know, the badass 8-year-old that I was, I just threw the snowball like straight up into the sky, like just directly up. And I almost didn't want to hit him, but for whatever reason, fate would have it, it just came down in like a meteor and landed directly on his fucking like bald ass head, and then onto his shoulders. But it timed it so perfectly that it like smacked into like his body as he was opening the door to go inside. I don't even know what brought him outside in the first place, the son of a bitch. Just kidding. And like and as soon as he walked in, you know, I could just hear the adults like say, hey, you know, Bill, what the hell happened? Oh my, you're covered in snow. What happened? And like he's like, you know, and he's at this point, I think he's just fucking playing it up like a little bitch. But he's like, one of your, I think Linda's boy, fucking, you know, threw a snowball at me, and it just sucks so much ass because it was like, normally I go to that grandparents, you know, you get gifts and you know, you get your, you know, with them it was like there's so many grandkids, you get like $5, which I was, you know, it was cool. And I remember. So like, and it was just like my parents just like storming the fuck out, you know, storming out of the house, asking who did it. And then I just was like, it was me. It's just like a little bitch giving up myself immediately. And they're like, all right, we're leaving. But it's so funny because like, I've come to the conclusion that like, whenever a kid does a bad thing and then says like, they're bad, we're getting out of here, guys, they're a bad kid, they're a bad and we're getting out of here, we gotta go, I'm so sorry everyone, but we gotta go, our kid is bad, we gotta go beat him with fucking bamboo sticks, so goodbye. And that was the excuse my parents used to take us all away from Christmas. But and then we skipped our other grandparents' house, or I think we went there or something, but it was like not as, you know, it's just a sour mood. But I'm pretty sure that if they actually wanted to stay, they would, but they just used my naughty behavior as a means to get them the fuck out of here, you know? Because everybody who goes to like a, you know, a family get together, you know, if it's a big one, usually within like an hour is like, all right, how do we fucking like speed this shit up? Because I want to go home and, you know, jerk off or something. Whatever parents do, I don't know what they do. And yeah, so that was regrettable because back then when you're like a little kid, you actually like love fucking hanging out with your cousins and stuff like that. But I was naughty, and snowballs were essentially my weapon at that point in my life. There's been a lot of circumstances in which snowballs have gotten me in trouble. Almost makes me wish that I would have grown up in an area that was a little bit warmer. You might be able to describe 17-year-old David Faraday as the all-American boy. David was clean-cut, a good student, and a member of the Boy Scouts of America. He was also apparently something of a moral arbiter, having once confronted a marijuana dealer outside of his high school when the man had apparently been attempting to peddle the drug to members of the student body. After threatening to inform the police, the dealer was said to never have hung around the high school again. And although by today's standards we might consider this to be so-called snitch behavior, David was clearly simply trying to protect his fellow students from something he was concerned would affect their academic performance. He was a good person, with a good heart, and almost all of what he did came from a place of love. But like many boys his age, David found himself increasingly interested in females. Sorry, this is a weird writing here. They say the fairer sex, you know, like a light-skinned fair maiden type, you know, saying or whatever, a fairer lady friend, but they're saying fairer sex. What can I say? The fair, or just interested in girls. I'll just say interested in girl. I feel like that's way simpler. But like many boys his age, David found himself increasingly interested in the opposite gender, and there was one particular young lady that caught his attention over all others, Betty Lou Jensen. Jensen? Betty Lou Jensen was 16. Wait, fuck. Sorry, that sounded weird. And there was one particular young lady that caught his attention over... Fuck. I cannot, like, speak, dude. Ladies. Rest in peace, Little Joel's tush. That sounds like a threat. Oh, yeah, sorry. Little Joel. Yeah, Little Joel got sponked. And there was one particular young lady that caught his attention over all others. Betty Lou Jensen was 16, a year younger than David, but she was an incredibly popular... She was an incredibly popular and a Betty Lou Jensen was 16, a year younger than David, but she was an incredibly popular and I think just... The weird grammar fuck-ups are just like strange in a story like this where it seems so well written and then there's just like random shit. Damn you, Betty Lou. Betty Lou Jensen was 16, a year younger than David, but she was incredibly popular and her reputation as a charming... How do you... Oh my god, I don't know why this frustrates me. Like, two like really weird grammatical fuck-ups in one sentence. Well, alright. Betty Lou Jensen was 16, a year younger than David, but she was, I'm just going to change it. She was incredibly popular, and her reputation as charming. Oh, okay. God, I don't know why I can't fucking read this, dude. Why are Betty Lou's always hot? I don't know. It's a Betty thing. Betty Lou Jensen was 16, a year younger than David, but she was incredibly popular and her reputation as a charming, well-mannered young lady preceded her. She was also a very talented artist who took a great deal of interest in all things creative. It was at a local youth function that David got the chance to talk to Betty Lou, and his affection for her seemed to be entirely reciprocated. Betty Lou shared a great deal with him and even invited him to visit her after school so that he could walk her home. After a weeks of... Do you English, bro? I don't, man, especially when the sentence is written in some other foreign language. After a few weeks of wholesome teenage dating, something of a relationship began to blossom between the two bright-eyed young people. But all was not entirely well, as there was another boy who had his eye on Betty Lou, one who was not about to let David have her all to himself. He squared up to David when the young man was waiting outside of Betty Lou's high school, and although the confrontation didn't become physical, some pretty harsh insults were exchanged, and David was warned to stay away from his new... Bruh. Bo. He squared up to David when the young man was waiting outside of Betty Lou's high school, and although the confrontation didn't become physical, some pretty harsh insults were exchanged and David was warned to stay away from his new girlfriend. Other boys might have been deterred by such a display of possessiveness and aggression, but not David. He was determined to secure his place as the only boy in Betty Lou's life, and so one afternoon on their way home from school, David asked Betty if she'd like to go on a date with him, their first date, and to his absolute elation, Betty Lou said yes. David racked his brain for a solid first date idea, and given that it was late December, decided that a great way to capture that festive romantic spirit would be to take Betty Lou to a local Christmas event, and being that the gentleman that he... God damn it. It's pronounced boo. It's pronounced boo. Merry Christmas, Allison. Merry Christmas. And being the gentleman that he was, he made a promise to her parent... Fuck. God damn it. I'm so like... Is it fucking... Oh, it's 1 a.m. Jesus Christ. And being the gentleman that he was, he made a promise to her parents to have her back home by 11 p.m. at the very latest. Rumor has it that David and Betty were planning on attending the Christmas-themed party with a few other local high school students. But perhaps this was simply a cover to reassure the young girl's parents, because what we know for certain is that they ended up driving over to Lake Herman Road in David's Rambler station wagon, parking it up in quite a well-known spot that was known to many as Lover's Lane. The whole appeal of the spot near Lake Herman is that it was quiet and unfrequented by members of the public, hence why young couples might use it to gain some privacy for certain unsavory activities. But it wasn't just infatuated lovebirds who noted the location's seclusion, because someone else wished to take advantage of the isolation for something that was considerably more malicious. At some point during their stay up on Lover's Lane, David and Betty Lou noticed another car pull into the spot, one that parked up alongside them before turning its lights off. At first, David and Betty were worried it was the cops, come to arrest them for committing lewd acts in public. But as they peered through the darkness to study the vehicle next to them, it became increasingly obvious that it was not in fact the police. All the young Fuck. Merry Christmas, Drew. Do you remember, remember Family Guy? When he's like, I'm gonna take her on her first date and take her up to Anal Point. That shit was hilarious. All the young couple could do was watch, growing increasingly scared as the shadowy silhouette in front of... Oh, fuck my butt, dude. I can't fucking read. Oh my god. Okay. Thank God my pants are off. Otherwise, I'd be fucking losing my brain. All the young couple could do was watch, growing increasingly scared as the shadowy silhouette in the front seat sat still. What? It's like, this is a fucking, what do they call that? A tongue twister? I don't fucking know. State still? What the fuck is state still? Is that a fucking saying? State still? Fuck you. Like, that's not a... This is so annoyingly overcomplicated. All the young people could do was watch, growing increasingly scared as the shadowy silhouette in the front seat. Pradeep is pulling on my shoestrings right now. It's pretty funny. Good night, donkey. Dude, I don't know where my reading skill went, but it's like these really well-written documentary stuff always have like really fucking random ass like grammatical areas that just like kill the vibe. It just like kills the fucking flow and of the reading, and I'm like, how does this get overlooked? And it's almost like I feel like put in there to like troll me, because it just like, it's like you have a beautifully refined, you know, trail that you can run on and gallop through, and you're loving your experience, and all of a sudden someone just happens to put like a fucking spike trap in the middle of it, and you fall in, and now you're dead because you fell in spikes, and you're on your trail run. That's what a grammatical error. Please stop. He's going like nuts. I'm gonna tie my shoe. He's gonna just fucking stinky boy playing with my shoelaces. We're still in the same paragraph because I can't. What is state still? In the front seat stayed. State. What did they even intend? What was the even intention of the word that they wanted to use? Is there any other fucking alteration to state still? All the young couple could do was watch, growing increasingly scared as the shadowy silhouette in the front seat stayed maybe slate still? Is slate a fucking thing? Shoes but no pants. Yeah, because like I gotta keep shoes on, because if I'm standing while reading, like, please stop. Is slate still? Slate still? I should just get rid of the word. What am I doing? Slate still. Slate. Fuck that, dude. I have no fucking clue what is being said. Statue still? Dude, it might be statue. Stayed statue still. Staring. They just like specifically wanted to fucking put like 9 ST words in a row. All the young couple could do was watch, growing increasingly scared as the shadowy silhouette in the front seat stayed statue still, staring at them through the passenger's window. Betty Lou told David she was spooked and asked him to see if he could get the person to leave. But unlike previous encounters where David's bravery had shone through when confronted with a source of maliciousness, he too was far too frightened to do anything. But as he prepared to start up the Rambler's engine so he could drive Betty Lou out of there, the driver of the other vehicle got out and approached David's side of the Rambler. David was transfixed, frozen in fear like a deer in a car's headlights. But when he saw the mysterious figure... Motherfucker. My bones! David was transfixed, frozen in fear like a deer in a car's headlights. But when he saw the mysterious stranger pull out a pistol and aim it at his window, his flight response kicked into gear. Betty threw open the passenger side door, throwing herself from the Rambler before David followed suit. But neither kid was fast enough to outrun a bullet. The stranger fired once through the roof of the Rambler, then sprinted around the back to fire another shot at David through the vehicle's rear window. Both shots hit the young man, and he crawled along the ground near the station wagon's back wheel on the passenger side, trying and failing to escape. Betty Lou, however, began to sprint away through the darkness as the first shots were fired, but the stranger was fast. He took aim and fired 5 shots at the right side of her back, each bullet striking her torso before she fell. And she lay dying in the darkness. As she lay dying in the darkness, the killer turned his attentions back to David, pointing the pistol towards his head and pulling the trigger one last time, sending a bullet crashing into his skull just behind his left ear. Apparently, the killer then simply got back into his car and drove away into the night. Sometime later, someone who drove past the spot on Lover's Lane must have seen the bodies lying in the dirt, and then rushed to call the police. David was still breathing when they arrived on the scene, but was completely unresponsive, and was dead on arrival when he was finally taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. The double homicide stunned and horrified the local community, and rumors abounded that there was a crazed, firearm-wielding madman on the loose, with it only being a matter of time before they struck again. One of the first people contacted by the police as a potential suspect in the murders was the young man who had confronted David as a result of his own jealousies over his and Betty Lou's blossoming relationship. But it was discovered that this young man had a strong alibi for his whereabouts, meaning there was no way he could have been the mysterious, bloodthirsty stranger who pulled into Lover's Lane that night. As the summer of 1969 drew to a close, journalists and law enforcement alike wondered if the teenage lover's killer would ever be found, but little did they know that the nightmare had just began, and what would follow would continue to baffle all those involved for decades to come. Because the man who took David and Betty Lou's lives that evening, the man who relentlessly fired bullet after bullet into the Ranger's station wagon, would come to be known by a name that would echo through the fuck. I was gonna say anals. Would echo through the anals. Echo through my anal, daddy.
Annals.
Annals. A record of events year by year. Yeah, it's not anals, sorry. Pradeep is so cute. But I can't pet him or he'll want more pets, and I can't tempt him with pets right now. At last, the annals of time have passed. Okay. Because the man who took David and Betty's Lou... Fucking shit. Because the man who took David and Betty Lou's lives that evening... Oh, God, that sounded weird. A cavernous anal. Because the man who took David and Betty Lou's lives that evening, the man who relentlessly fired bullet after bullet into the Rambler's station wagon, would come to be known by a name that would echo through the annals. How the fuck... How do I not remember? My brain sucks, dude. Isn't it weird that the one thing that we fucking struggle with the most as humans is the most basic concept whenever you really think about it, and that is just memory. Why does our memory suck so much fucking dick, dude? Our memories suck so bad. We can't even remember things from 3 seconds ago, and let alone anything. Like, isn't that just strange? Like, why don't we have, like, why do humans as a consistent average not just have, like, perfect memories? Like, there's so many weaknesses. If there's going to be anything about the downfall of human in the long run is that our memories are just complete poop, just complete dog shit.
Annals.
Okay. Annals. What is that word? Annals. Who would write that word? Historical records. 8th century Northumberland annals. Anne. I've never pronounced anything else in my life Anne. I would pronounce it annals. That's how it should be pronounced. Because the man who took David and Betty Lou's lives that evening, the man who relentlessly fired bullet after bullet into the Rambler station wagon, would come to be known by a name that would echo through the annals of true crime all over the world: the Zodiac. Zodiac's identity remains a complete mystery even to this day. The killer's nickname originated from a series of taunting letters and cards sent to the San Francisco Bay Area press. These letters included 4 cryptograms based around a number of ciphers, one of which was recently solved by the FBI after over 50 years of research and study. We know for certain that the Zodiac murdered 5 people in Benicia. I have no idea how to say any of these fucking things. Anals. Spinals. Spinal. Alright, these are Californian locations. I gotta fucking look them up.
Benice.
What?
Benice.
Benice? What? That was the word. Why would you even contribute to the website if you were that bad? Benicia. How do you say it? Benicia, California, or Benicia? Anybody? Or is it just Benice? Alright, let me... How the fuck do you say this? Dude, there's nothing more annoying than looking up how to pronounce stuff. I mean, it's not a big deal. It takes like 3 seconds, but it's just like... pain.
Benicia.
Benicia. Okay. Benicia. Vallejo? Is it Vallejo? Please be Vallejo.
Vallejo.
Vallejo. Okay. Vallejo, Napa County, and San Francisco. Okay. Here we go. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Woo. We know for certain that the Zodiac murdered 5 people in Benicia, Vallejo, Napa County. Okay. We know for certain that the Zodiac murdered 5 people in Benicia, Vallejo, Napa County, and San Francisco in the 11 months spanning December of 1968 and October of 1969. It seems he preferred to target young couples, which is how he seemed to have come across David and Betty Lou while the pair were on their first date. Yet despite only 5 confirmed victims being attributed to the Zodiac, he once claimed to have murdered 32 other people, bringing his total body count to 37 victims. A killing spree that started with 2 young lovers, so excited to finally have some time alone together on their first date, never being able to imagine that it would end in such a brutal moment of painful finality. So the next time you're on a first date, don't be so quick to go somewhere secluded, as you never know who might be watching or following, just ready to turn a perfect romantic moment into a living nightmare. Oh man, it's so funny because when I rage about shit, I mean I can control it, but I'm literally raging about the most like first world problem bullshit of all time, like the first world of the first world issues, like how to pronounce something and how it's not conveniently spoken to me by my computer and directly, shot up my butt into my brain. Also, why the fuck do cats love string so much? Like, what's so exciting about string? Has anybody ever had, like, lion cubs or lions or, big cats? Do they like string? If so, that might be how we defeat them. If we ever have to go to war with the lions. Okay, this person's name is Ingrid. I'm gonna look that up. Ingrid. In the grid.
Luna.
Luna? Really? I thought it was Lynn. Luna. Oh, there's a fucking Steam game called Luna. What's that all about? I actually kind of want to check that out real quick. Very positive reviews. It is a puzzle game. Deceptively simple, infinitely complex. Lyne is a minimalist puzzle game that will knot your brain as it calms your soul. Interesting. Check that out. Not sponsored, by the way. Stay cold, pony boy. Thank you. Alright, how do we say this bullshit? Dude, it's fucking Christmas, guys.
Line.
The only... Line? No. You dumb bitch. That's not fucking right. Dude, I am going to DM. I am going to direct message Emma saying, because for my entire fucking 6+ years here on YouTube, 8 times out of 10, I go to Emma saying on YouTube and fucking, you know, put in a word, type pronounce, you know, Lyne pronounce, and I swear to fucking God, whoever runs that stupid fucking channel purposely has created the account as a parody, specifically to troll me, and has amassed 601,000 subscribers, very similar to my own, to give themselves some sort of credence of believability, because the manner in which she pronounced this and 8 out of 10 words that she normally pronounces are utterly and completely fucking wrong, and I hope she has a bad Christmas. Fuck you, Emma. Just kidding. Okay, how do you say this stupid shit? Listen how she says. This is terrible.
Line.
Line? Line? Lyne? Line? Incorrect, madam. Take this video down. I'm gonna copyright strike it. No, I'm just kidding, but someone should. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Oh my god. Okay, okay, here we go. We'll try the next one. This is even better. Pronounce names.
Is brought to you by
Probably wrong too.
pronouncenames.com.
Probably wrong too.
Line.
Oh my god, it's pronounced line. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's pronounced line. Okay, nobody direct message Emma saying, because that would be really embarrassing if you happen to show her this part of the stream. M. Durf with the 5 says, Merry Christmas to my sweet Pradeep from my sweet per shallow smooches and kissy. Thank you, Durfy. He is freaking sprawled out on his backpack down below my feet. What is lion then, though? I need a Snickers. Maybe that's it. Maybe my blood sugar's low. Line. Is it line? And there's the comment section has been banned. No. Nope. Sorry. Line is the... Wait. Okay. So... Oh, that's... Look at this. This is perfect. This is perfect, and it redeems me. I am redeemed. Both of these big name... Big pronunciation corporations. The two big wigs in pronunciation on YouTube. We got Emma Sayings and fucking pronouncenames.com is fucking utterly conspiring together to pronounce the name Lynn like line. And it's bullshit. Because look at this. I got hard evidence. You scroll down, there's only one comment. Only one comment, and the comment says nope with 2 exclamation points, says sorry. Line is the same as Lynn, Lynn. So Lyne is actually pronounced like Lynn. And it guess the name of the person who fucking wrote that comment. Her name is Lynn Lillis. Spelled Lyne. And I think if anybody knows how to fucking pronounce it, it's the person with that name. But they could be wrong too. They all could be wrong. Oh fuck. I'm gonna go with Lynn. I'm also going to be suing pronouncenames.com and Emma Sayings. Oh, but it's her last name. That completely throws a fucking wrench into it, dude. It's not how it's spelled, Durfy Durf. Pradeep wants his kiss back. Or wait, you gave it to him. Never mind. I should get a weighted blanket. Put a fucking weighted blanket. I like wear it like during my streams. I'm like wearing like a anxiety like dog blanket, like as if though there's like a thunderstorm going. Man, guys, I don't really feel like abruptly triggered by weird words anymore tonight. I don't know. Oh, it's because this giant 200-pound blanket holding me down. Your IRL name is spelled very different, and that's how it's usually spelled. Okay. Wait. It's pronounced line? Pretty sure it's Lynn.
Hey, listen.
Start with the story. Start with... I promise you, all of these rants will be completely 100% non-existent in the final edited video, and it will come out at 7 p.m. on Christmas Day, baby. A video on Christmas just for you. Just for Maravo Jadek. Just for you. Rowdy with the 3 says, Merry Christmas, laser points, good for cats and people. Oh yeah, I could use a laser. It's just like a laser point on my forehead this whole time. Like, Line, like lime. Ingrid Marie Line.
Lune.
But then this guy says Loon. What do we do? Michelle Ortega with the 5 says, is this a drunken naked stream? It seems like it. Drunk, naked. Don't even need any drink to get my clothes off, guys. Just need to get me fucking hot and uncomfortable. Just bring me into your room and turn the heat up to fucking like 86. My pants will be off instantaneously. I won't even ask permission. I'll just take them off. Thank you, Marty. Merry Christmas. Okay. I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm a little nervous about this because I have no fucking clue how to say this name. And I'm actually serious. It's embarrassing. Ingrid Marie Line. Loon? Chris Johnston with the 5 says, I appreciate the ranch, Joel Baby Smooches. Thank you, Chris. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna go with Loon. Because you know why I'm gonna go with Loon? Not out of disrespect for this person, but because it sounds more exotic. And I just kind of feel like if you make something sound really exotic, people don't really care as much. So we're gonna go with the exotic one. We're gonna go with Loon. Fine, just say Lynn. Alright, we'll say Lynn. Ingrid Marie Lynn was born on August 2nd, 1975, and spent the majority of her early year. Ingrid Marie Lynn was born on August 2nd. Fuck. Arian? How do you say your name? Arian? Is that how you say it? Ingrid Marie Lynn was born on August 2nd, 1975, and spent the majority of her early years living in Tucson, Arizona, going on to graduate from Canyon del Oro High School. Ingrid later attended the University of Arizona and received a Bachelor of Science in Nursing during the year 1977. She then moved to Washington State 3 Joel is exotic. Joel. If you want to make me feel real exotic, just call me Joel. Joel Exotic. You know what's really funny? Did you ever watch Dr. Disrespect? Dude, sometimes he gets so fucking mad he spits. He gets mad, he looks downwards, and he fucking spits onto the ground while playing video games in his house. At his computer chair, he spits. Maybe he has a trash can underneath him, but he like spits not out of like he's chewing tobacco or fucking, flavored nuts or some shit, but like, or what are they called, seeds, but he literally spits out of like disrespect for the person he just played against, And it's the funniest shit ever. It's just like so out of nowhere, and he doesn't even acknowledge it. He just is like as if though he's like, I spit on your mother's grave. I don't know. It's really funny. She then moved to Washington State 3 years later, gaining employment at the city's Swedish Medical Center. It was here that she met her husband, Philip. The couple dated for a short while before he proposed, and for a while they were happily married and had 3 beautiful daughters together. But like many modern marriages, financial strain and conflicting personality types proved a burden on the young couple's relationship, and in 2014, Ingrid filed for a divorce. It took 2 years for Ingrid to be able to get back into the dating game. Being the mother of 3 young daughters does not leave much time at all to be able to indulge in such things, so we can only imagine how smitten she was with 37-year-old John Carlton that... Fuck. Flavored nuts. I know, I'm so stupid, dude. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. She can only imagine how smitten she was with... So we can only imagine how smitten she was with 37-year-old John Charlton that she would actually make time for him with such an already busy schedule. Ingrid and John had met through the online dating website Plenty of Fish, and had been chatting online on and off for around a month when they arranged to attend a Seattle Mariners baseball game together as an official first date. To 40-year-old Ingrid, John seemed like the perfect gentleman who could provide some much-needed stability in her life. But John was far from the perfect gentleman that he presented himself as, and despite Ingrid being attracted to the subtle bad boy tough guy vibes that John gave off, the reality was much more dangerous. He had a criminal record in 6 states, including convictions for aggravated robbery, felony theft, grand theft auto, and third-degree larceny. Larceny?
Larceny.
Cool. Theft of personal property. Neat. Morgan Freeman. Hello, everyone. It's me, Morgan. Let's Freeman. Today, it'd be funny if Morgan Freeman DM me was like, "Can I collab on your channel, Joel?" Sure, Morgan. I mean, I guess your channel's not very big, but I suppose. Thank you, good sir. He had a criminal record in 6 states, including convictions for aggravated robbery, felony theft, grand theft auto, and third-degree larceny. And in stark contrast to him claiming to receive a steady paycheck as a construction worker, John was in fact a homeless day laborer. Sorry, that sounded weird. Homeless day laborer. That sounded like Morgan Freeman doing salad fingers, lol. Morgan Freeman doing salad fingers. Oh, yes, rusty spoons. And in stark contrast to him claiming to receive a steady paycheck as a construction worker, John was in fact a homeless day laborer. John and Ingrid's first date was scheduled for the evening of Friday, April 8th, 2016, with Ingrid's friends reporting that she seemed very excited and nervous to meet her prospective mate. She had even managed to arrange for her 3 daughters to be taken care of over at their father's place, giving her an entirely free evening to enjoy her new... What's my favorite candy? Well, I really like Swedish Fish, but I also like Reese's shit. So Reese's Feces. Feces cups. Yeah, but you keep low-key spamming the same question. Wait, who's spamming the same question? Where's it at? Is Homeless Day a holiday? It's Homeless Day, everybody. Everybody get out of your house and go sleep in a box. You're starting a book soon, and I can't wait to listen to your vids as I write. Can you listen to your to stuff as you write? Because I have tried to like write as I hear people's words, and it like I can't like differentiate my own thoughts sometimes from what, I mean, I can, but like it's a little bit difficult. So I start to write what they're like writing. You know what I mean? Um, okay. Reese's feces law. Okay. She had even managed to arrange for her $3 to be taken care of. Entirely free evening with her new boy. Society with the tent says, Merry Christmas, Joel. All I want for Christmas is you. Winky winky. You better check as I come down your chimney. Winky winky. Thank you, Society, for the tenor. You've been writing this entire time. Nice. Yeah, does my like words ever like kind of bleed into your, you know, sort of train of thought and cause you to like write down what I'm saying? Because I feel like that would happen to me.
Hey, listen.
Oh my god, my bro hears you swearing and he'd be like, censor that. Yeah, every time I swear you have to hit the bleep button, but hopefully we can time it up right. You find that you work faster when listening to people talk. Interesting. Yeah, it's I guess everybody's brain works differently. I just feel like I was able to when I was studying, and maybe it's different. Maybe writing and reading is a little bit different. But like when I was studying, when I was in school, I would listen to just like, you know, beats and stuff like that. Before, way before, in a hardcore hipster way before. You know, chill beats to study to, chill beats to get spooked to, kind of way, and just that type of like pacing of music without lyrics was because if it had lyrics, I feel like I would mix those up with what I was reading, and it was just kind of like weird. What was I studying? I went to nursing school. Come Down the Chimney sounds like a bad porno film. It is actually, and I'm starring in it. Okay. She'd even managed to arrange for her 3 daughters to be taken care of over at their father's place, giving her an entirely free evening to enjoy her new date's company. She told a close friend that she would text her when the date was over to let her know how it went, but as the evening grew later and later, and Ingrid's friend had still not received any text messages from her, she began to worry. She tried to call Ingrid's cell phone time and time again, but the call kept ringing out, and only managed to calm herself down and cease her attempts at reaching her when she considered the fact that the lack of response might have meant that the date had gone a little too well, and that might in fact be a good thing that she couldn't reach her friend. However, the next day, on April 9th, Ingrid's ex-husband pulled up at her place in Renton to drop off their 3 daughters. He rang the doorbell multiple times, but no one answered, and it soon seemed apparent that there was no one home. Her ex was irritated but also concerned. Ingrid was mostly a very reliable person, and it wasn't like her to not stick to her word over something, especially when it involved the care of her daughters. He too tried to call her cell phone, but when he got no answer from it, he proceeded to call up Ingrid's mother. Her mother had no idea where Ingrid was, and apparently didn't know that she had been out on a date the previous evening, so instead of making a fuss about the situation, she simply drove over to Ingrid's place with a spare key to allow Ingrid's ex-husband to gain entry. Ingrid's mother then proceeded to take a quick look around the house, just to make sure everything was in order. But in doing so, she found her daughter's wallet, purse, and cell phone all lying on a kitchen countertop. She knew it would be very unlike her daughter to go out without taking all of these items with her, and it was only at this point that she began to worry for her daughter's safety. At that point, Ingrid's mother's call. At that point, Ingrid's mother calls the Seattle police to report her daughter missing. Wait, where am I? What y'all arguing with each other about? Togedevs. Jay Randall, what's everyone duped about? Oh, you're timed out. If you're mad at me, I don't know why you're mad at me. Like, I never understood if like someone's mad at someone. Like if you're indirectly taking, like if you're mad at someone in the chat, Randall, I can understand. But if you're mad at me, I don't know why you would waste your time existing within the chat. Like, because you're talking about some sort of echo chamber or whatever. But like, I don't really think the chat is much of an echo chamber to a degree. I think everybody usually has varying opinions on stuff, and everyone's mature enough to usually talk it out. And if they're not, I kindly ask them to do so. But if you're upset at me about the content of the page, then why do you waste your time continuing to exist here? Because there's obviously, it must be good enough that you continue to be here. You know what I mean? It's just strange. At that point, Ingrid's mother calls the Seattle police to report her daughter missing. Around the same time that Ingrid is reported missing, a homeowner who lived about 10 miles from Ingrid's home also makes a call to the police. The complaint details some bloody handprints on one of the recycling bins, one that has a mass of large black flies buzzing around it. They fear the worst, but since they do not want to contaminate any potential crime scenes, they thought it better to simply call the police than act on any of their own suspicions. Police arrived to check the scene out and, to their horror, found the bin contained several dismembered body parts, including a severed head, foot, arm, and leg, some of which had been haphazardly wrapped in plastic trash bags. The police who then arrived at Ingrid's home searched the residence to find blood, human tissue, and a pruning saw in her bathroom, as well as trash bags identical to those in the bloody recycling bin just 10 miles away. It didn't take long for Seattle PD to put two and two together and work out that Ingrid had been violently murdered and cut up using the very pruning saw found in her bathroom. According to Ingrid's cell phone calls, John Charlton was one of the last people she had spoken to before going missing, so he was an obvious person of interest in the case. Police then tracked him down, and on April 11, 2016, he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Due to overwhelming evidence against him, his bail was set at a whopping $5 million, with a judge citing an overwhelming flight risk given his past convictions and his history of running from state to state to avoid court appearances. During his interview with investigating police, John opened with a statement, "I am not a normal person," a dark prelude for the confession to come. Although he initially tried to shirk responsibility for the murder by saying he had a severe drinking problem, had previously dabbled in crack cocaine, and that on the night in question he had blocked out, my bad. Can't wrap your head around somebody doing this to another living being. I know. It is very fucking sad. Like sometimes I feel bad because I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like reading, almost in sort of an entertainment sense, like somebody's like utter nightmare. You know what I mean? Like just the worst fucking possible thing that could happen to you. You're going out on a date, you know, hopefully to fill the void that for your kids, you know, that your ex-husband didn't quite have, or, you know, fill in, you know, that loneliness, and then that person just decides to fucking kill you and cut you up into little bits and pieces and put you in a trash, you know what I mean? Like at this point we're gonna hear exactly how it transpires, I think, but it's just like, how do you dabble in crack cocaine? That's a good question. The same way you dabble in you know, orchestral flute. You just give it a whirl, and it's just not for everyone. But yeah, the person in the chat was just saying how like I guess I didn't get to, maybe I'm still missing the context of what they were saying, but it seemed as if though they were like saying that I just exist based off of like other people's content or whatever. But I mean, like, that is true to a degree, but I mean, like, everybody, sends their stories in. So it's not like, it's like they want their stories to be narrated, you know what I mean? And I mean, the entirety of this channel is crowdfunded, you know what I mean? Like, as far as the content goes, so I don't really see an issue with that at all, you know what I mean? Like what the fuck am I supposed to do? Sit here and like write everybody's like creepy experiences and stuff? That would be undoable. But whatever. Although he initially tried to shirk responsibility of the murder by saying that he had a severe drinking problem, had previously dabbled in crack cocaine, and that on the night in question he had blacked out on a downtown Seattle sidewalk and woke up with facial injuries and cuts to his body, having no memory of the evening's events. Yet, John also said that he thought he remembered the two being intimate with each other, and that he assumed that she had driven him back to Seattle, where he then slept on the sidewalk. To the homicide detectives that questioned him, none of what John was saying added up, so it seemed like a no-brainer to push the case to be taken into a courtroom. At this trial, John initially pled not guilty to the charges put against him, but in the course of being cross-examined by state prosecutors and in the face of overwhelming evidence, he eventually changed his plea to that of guilty. At one point, the courtroom had heard that John's own parents had filed a restraining order against him 10 years prior, stemming from an incident on March 2nd of 2006. John's parents had returned home to find their son drunk at their residence in Thurston County, Washington, where he allegedly acted physically threatening and verbally violent for a couple of hours. His father, Raymond, wrote up the request himself, stating that during this time frame, he removed a movie from the DVD shelf called Hannibal, set the case in front of my wife, and told her she should watch it and beware. The horrific details of the Ingrid's... Oops. But the thing is, Jay, I don't understand, like, why, I mean, it's at this point, it's funny to me, like, why are you maintaining your existence within this chat, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it. To me, it seems as if though it's not the chat that has the issue, it's more that you have some sort of obsessive compulsive need to continue to argue your already false point. Though it's a different perspective, it's false because I just told you that am I all just stoned or too crazy? I mean, based on your aggressive messages too, it seems as if though you might be mildly intoxicated. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. But it seems, I don't know why you would continue to exist here unless there was some sort of influence on your own mind. I don't know. What is the truth that you're looking? I don't know. I feel like you're saying a bunch of ambiguous concepts, but I still haven't caught the context directly of what you're upset about, to be honest. The horrific details of the Ingrid's... Sorry, the way that it's phrased there is weird. The horrific details of Ingrid's killing and dismemberment have fueled concern over the dangers of internet dating. Both experts in domestic violence and internet safety say the unfortunate truth is there's probably little that Ingrid could have done differently. She seemed to have kept John at arm's length for around a month before agreeing to meet, but still she fell for his lies and his charm and ended up paying for it with her life. In her case, the online dating piece is really almost irrelevant in what happened, said Cindy Southworth, founder of the Safety Net Technology Project at the National Network to End Domestic Violence. They could have met through mutual friends, and she could have still ended up dead. It's a terrifying concept that no matter what Ingrid could have done, she still would have ended up a victim of John Charlton's alcohol-fueled bloodlust. Even if she had ran a background check, that fact that most of his convictions were for non-violent crimes might not have even put her off dating him. That night in April of 2016 seemed like it could have been the beginning of the rest of her life with a man she could grow to love, but instead, Ingrid ended up in pieces, dumped in garbage bins. Assuming you had a bad day and taking it out on me. I mean, that's fine. I'm just like trying, because like when people come in with strange accusations or they're frustrated or something like that, usually I'm able to, you know, create a counter argument, but I can't even, like, every time I see him make a comment in chat, it's like out of context, but it's like arguing with you guys, that accusing you guys of being naughty, bad, stinky, you know, but like I keep missing like what it is that he's even upset about, so I feel like it's just kind of like a bot being upset about nothing. I'm great at handling difficult people. No, believe me, I worked in a bar as a door guy, you know, as security for 3-4 years, and then I worked as a nurse. So like dealing with crazy people is like, who are either intoxicated or out of their mind in some fashion, or frustrated or whatever, was pretty much like a daily process. No, but somebody tell me, I mean, just out of curiosity, I know this is such a waste of time, but somebody tell me what he was actually upset about, because I can't even, like, I don't understand. What was the context there? But instead, Ingrid ended up in pieces, dumped in garbage bins all over the city of Seattle. Joel the bouncer. I mean, thankfully it was. I mean, that's most of my dealings with people who were drunk, was I'd be able to like talk them down from whatever, you know, alcohol-fueled haze they were in. He wants to draw attention to himself to dictate the subject of the chat. That makes sense. But I just wasn't sure what his subject desiring was, which I guess is me getting baited into it more. It was about my pronunciation? Really? Is that what he was upset about? He was upset because he was born with a small peener. Oh. I guess. I mean, that would suck, I suppose. Basically, he was upset after stopping your reading and stuttering and then talking to chat. Oh, he was just upset that He was upset that I stopped? He wasn't upset about the content or anything like that? He was just upset that I'm chatting with people and not soothing him into a slumber? Oh, that people shouldn't be giving me money and tips because I made mistakes. Oh, well, I mean the donations I don't think are in correlation to like less mistakes. It's the donations are just because they're like a fan of the channel, or I've you know what I mean, like I've offered them some sort of benefit in regards to like either helping them relax, or they enjoy the content, or they like to sleep to it, or you know what I mean, like, so it's basically it's just kind of like showing support to the channel, or like crowdfunding support and stuff outside of like the conventional like advertising revenue process, which has kind of become part of the culture within streaming and that kind of thing. But I don't think the mistakes should necessarily negate that process. But like I said, like if you're upset with the mistakes and you want to hear it in its like final form, I guarantee you this will be out. Oh, you get paid, so do it correctly. Yeah, at that point I just kind of feel like, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you're pointing out. What aspect of my narration am I doing incorrectly? Unless I don't know. I can't, like, I'm trying so hard to like piece together your argument and try to get into your brain to understand where you're from, which is probably a massive waste of my time, and is probably starting to upset some people, and I apologize for that. But it just like, I don't know. Are you a child? Like, I don't know what you are. Like, because nothing of what you're saying makes any sense. Like, it's as if though like I'm hearing echoes of like your frustration. It's like a ghost screaming at you, and you don't know what they're upset about. Ashley Nicole Pegram is from, okay. Cody V with the 5 says more grammatical errors, please. Absolutely. Coming right up. Learn how to pronounce words correctly. Bro, every time okay, so that's the upset part. Well, dude, every time I don't know how to pronounce when I look it up on Forvo or on fucking Google. So I don't know what I'm doing. What if there's a specific word that you didn't like? Just people usually let me know. Roman with the 2 says it's Cremus, sire. Please don't take my shillings. What's Cremus? Is that like a fucking holiday? Or is that like a Jubilee thing? Oh shit. Cremus. Oh, Crimus. It's Crimus. Okay. Dude, I'm an idiot. I just realized it's fucking Christmas. Jesus Christ. But thank you, Roman. And thank you for the shillings. They shall be mine. M. Durf with the 2 says... line, anals. Oh my fucking god. Well, I got those right though, bro. I did them right. Don't listen to the ungrateful ones. I'm trying. Okay, so we are on the last story of this party time, which is one, I think going, yeah, the way that it seems to be written here is most likely going to be another, ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. Sorry, those are my butt cheeks. I was twerking so fast, it's like faster than the speed of twerk. And it was just catching up, the sound waves, that is. Malika L with the $50 donation. Says, Merry Christmas, love the channel, love the content, love the voice. I truly appreciate what you do for us. Thank you so much, Malika. Thank you. I do certainly appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Holy cow. Jeez Louise. And Ryan Fisher has become a full-grown pizza and a member of the Buttersock Cult. Welcome. Everybody welcome Ryan here. And A Boss with the 5 says, this is because you made a mistake. Thank you, yeah. The more mistakes I make, now we gotta just go up with it. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, guys.
Hey, listen.
All right. I think I missed one. No, did I miss one up here? I got, yeah, Roman. Got Cody. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Roman. Thank you, Durf. Thank you, Malika, so much. And thank you, Ryan. Thank you, A Boss. And Arian Landreth. That sounds like a very, Game of Thrones name right there. With the 5 says, we're grateful for you. Thanks. Thank you. I'm grateful for you guys, honestly. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Arian. It kind of sucks my, notification for, the chills notification for members is turned off. What is reverse twerk? It's a very slow twerk. This is Joel. There I am. That's my face reveal, my emoji reveal. How old am I? I'm 30. Dirty 30. All right. Ashley Nicole Pegram. Okay. Ashley Nicole Pegram grew up in Somerville. Sorry. Fucking. Sometimes I just gotta find my rhythm. But thank you guys again so much for your generosity tonight. I really appreciate it, making Christmas amazing so far. I hope you guys are having an amazing holiday, and we're gonna kick it off with this last story here. Ashley Nicole Pegram grew up in Somerville, a town of around 50,000 people in Dorchester's County, South Carolina. Dorchester. Is that it? Dorchester? Dorchester. 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 Dorchester.
Dorchester.
Dorchester. Okay, cool. Gracios. Amigos. Okay. Ashley Nicole Pegram grew up in Somerville, a town of around 50,000 people in Dorchester County, South Carolina. Ashley was the mother of 3 small children, lived with her mother, and in 2015, she was just 28 years old when she met a guy named Edward Bonilla through a dating app known as Meet Me. 30-year-old Edward used the screen name eMoneyBon, and after he and Ashley matched, they began to use the messaging app Kik to stay in touch. They arranged to meet on April 3rd of 2015, and Ashley was extremely excited at the prospect of getting herself a long-term boyfriend. It wasn't easy finding men that were interested in a single mother of 3, and she knew her children needed stability, a healthy father figure, a healthy Santa figure. I'm working on my Santa figure. I'm working out. That'd be funny. I don't know. I could see like Gordon Ramsay say that or something. It's like, well, it's golden. I'm working out. I'm trying to. Oh, you're working out. Are you trying to work out to look like a fucking mole Santa? Boom, roasted. It wasn't easy finding men that were interested in a single mother of 3, and she knew her children needed stability, a healthy father figure in their lives to give them the best chance possible in life. But the few hours before her first date with Edward were the last time she was ever seen alive. She didn't return from her date that evening, and she was reported missing shortly afterward. The police officers who investigated her disappearance instantly honed in on Edward as the number 1 suspect after obtaining and analyzing his cell phone records. Then, during a subsequent police interview, they found that the questions they posed had his account of the dates. When did I turn 30? I turned 30 in June. Let's see that sexy Santa belly filled with candy and toys. You blow fire on your face, you fucking donkey. I was watching like some streamers, like a lot of streamers on Twitch, for whatever reason, like they're always concerned with DMCAs, which is like their channel's getting in trouble because they play like mainstream music and stuff like that, which sucks. Like that's kind of a huge issue on Twitch right now. But like a lot of them watch fucking like Gordon Ramsay cooking show shit all the time. And I'm like, how the fuck? This is like a mainstream show. Like, how the hell does that not get them in trouble? But the one episode he's watching was like Kitchen Nightmares. And it was just so funny. Like, as soon as Gordon came in, he starts like digging through the guy's like waiting room couches, you know, like, or as they're waiting to be seated and stuff. There's these like dingy, disgusting couches. And he's just like lifting them up and like finding like old candy canes and a comb. And the one like, he like pulled to the side and he just is running his fucking nails through like all of this old like dirt and grime and shit. And I'm like, you would imagine, like, I'm like, why the fuck is Gordon Ramsay not wearing gloves? Like everything he's touching there is disgusting. And then I like stepped away for a little while to go, I think, get food or something, and I came back in, and I literally came back into him holding and like lecturing somebody while holding a fucking dead mouse in his hand. Like the dead mouse was just like mummified and fucking, you know, just rotting like at the same, like, you know, stove that they're cooking your creme brulee in, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Gordon, you're gonna get the fucking plague, dude. Put that shit down. Wear some gloves. Do a Q&A. Well, yeah, so like pretty much every stream is like a Q&A, you know, but just more of like an impromptu process. So if you ever have any questions, just ask them, because I most likely will answer them. Then, during a subsequent police interview, they found the questions they posed had his account of the dates. Sorry, that sounds weird. Then, during a subsequent police interview, they found that the questions they posed had his account of the date's events sounding suspiciously inconsistent. He tripped up so many times under the intense scrutiny that the police had the grounds to arrest him on initial charges of obstruction of justice, which would buy them the time they needed to search for evidence that he had murdered Ashley and disposed of her body. During the searches that followed, investigators managed to find traces of blood in the car that he owned, as well as around the places that he was staying. Subsequent analysis showed that the blood contained DNA that matched that of Ashley's, and Edward was formally charged with the young woman's murder. All that the police were lacking for an airtight case against him was Ashley's body. But while he was being held without bond in a local holding facility, police who were using corpse-sniffing dogs to scour an area of woodland just outside of Somerville managed to find what remained of her. She had been buried in a shallow grave, with injuries that were consistent with that of homicidal violence. Ashley's neck and wrists have been bound with electrical tape, and there were visible signs of blunt force trauma to the girl's face and head. The electrical tape around her neck was tied painfully tight too, suggesting Edward had used it to strangle her before bashing in her skull with a heavy object. A toxicology report found a large amount of alcohol and muscle relaxants in her bloodstream, the latter suggesting that she had been drugged so that Edward could have his way with her before he ended her life. A coroner attempted to confirm the suspicions of indecent assault, but Ashley's body was in such an advanced state of decomposition already that it proved impossible. Yet despite so much evidence against him, prosecutors were unable to establish a clear motive for the killing. However, they were able to establish his proximity to the victim on the night in question, with Edward's cell phone records placing him at Ashley's mom's house and near Harleyville on the night of their date. Investigators also looked at Ashley's Meet Me profile, as well as her Kik messages, and discovered that she and Edward had been chatting back and forth for months by that point. Prosecutors managed to find one of Edward's ex-girlfriends who willingly told the courtroom at his trial that he was more than capable of being forceful and violent, and how she had been forced to break up with him when he had physically threatened her on more than one occasion. The evidence against him How do you even find a interest in narrating? I don't know. I think at the time I kind of stumbled into it because it was like, I fucking loved... No, sorry. I read another comment and that confused me. I just wanted to make a YouTube channel, and I thought like the only way that I knew how to do that was my familiarity with microphones because of helping with like being the sound guy, on stuff. So I was like, maybe I can, do like I was like, at the beginning, I was like, maybe I can be like NPR or something like that, just like buzzing in people's ears while they fall asleep. And then literally that's what became of it. So that was kind of cool. And then it's just kind of evolved from there as I started to change subjects from reading Wikipedia pages to creepypasta to, true scary stories and true crime, and it just grew from there. Am I a Marvel fan? Yeah, I like Marvel. And who's my favorite? I like the Hulk. I don't know. The Hulk is just simple to me. He's just encapsulates what I most enjoy about superhero movies, and that's just complete chaos, raw brute strength. Can't really be defeated. Doesn't have any like stupid one-liners that a lot of them say that aren't even really funny in a lot of the Marvel movies. Like, some of the funniest Marvel movies that had been out, I think, are, well, the Spider-Man ones were cool. I thought those were almost like borderline comedies. But like Thor Ragnarok, I thought was so good because it was just primarily a comedy, but also like it was just like a comedy with like some really good action, and it was the fucking Hulk. What can you can't go wrong with the Hulk. He's just, I don't know. I always love like seeing the Hulk like just overcome some really like fucking insurmountable odds of strength, and kind of reminded me a little bit of like Kratos from God of War, where even though he's just like this little thing, it doesn't matter if it's like Apocalypto is like getting ready to crush him, he just like can figure out how to fucking like launch his foot up and then like start climbing up him to like go poke him in the eyeball. Captain Marvel. Which one's Captain Marvel? I don't think I've seen that one. Please, when I heard Green Man, I thought of Dream. Who's Dream? Is that I've been seeing Dream a lot. That's like a Minecraft person? Is there some sort of like controversy surrounding the Minecraft realm right now? Squawk Man's your favorite? Lol. You wouldn't want to work for Thanos though. Superman and Captain America. Well, Superman is actually DC. No, I don't care. Brie Larson. Is that one of the superheroes? He's a Minecraft YouTube. Interesting. The Hulk from the TV series, yeah, with Lou Ferrigno. That was... I just love how he's continued to grow. Hey, Boss with the 5 says, what do you think about how they treated him in Avengers? The Hulk?
Hey, listen.
Well, I don't think I've seen the final Avengers movie. Captain Pennsylvania, lol. I don't think I've seen the final Avengers movie, but like I said, I liked Ragnarok. The Edward Norton one I wasn't a huge fan of. It was also kind of lame that Edward Norton didn't follow through. I remember the Edward Norton one was whenever I started thinking that CGI was like actually getting fucking worse. Because I don't know if you remember like the Eric Bana Hulk movie. I actually thought that was pretty good. I don't know. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but I thought it was really good. And I thought the CGI in it was very believable. The Hulk Ultimate Destruction video game is one of my favorite video games of all time. It's just like so fucking fun.
Listen.
Am I single? I am single, yeah. When I read your typos out loud, lol. Taylor McLean with the 2 buckaroos from Canada says, hey buddy, how are you, Taylor? What are you doing? You listened to 100 hours of my story vids. Nice. I am kind of curious. I wonder how many hours of content I actually have. The Eric Bana one was terrible. I don't think so. I just think like something about the first one or that one with him was like more of a slow burn. You know what I mean? Like it took its time to get where it needed to go. And maybe it's because I was younger, and maybe if I go back and watch it now, I'll be like, this fucking sucks. But something about it back then, it felt pretty compelling. But it was kind of weird. The one guy, didn't he become like some sort of like god because he would like mixed his elements with like lightning and shit? And at one point the Hulk is like flashing like lightning through the clouds, and that was really weird. Maybe I only watched that movie once. Hi, DK. One of your classmates looks like Eric Bana, just shorter. Nice. Time for acting. Villains. Yeah, villains are definitely some of my favorite characters, I think, because, I don't know, some heroes that are just, like, too hero-y, it's just kind of cringy. And, like, I don't know, I need people with, like, believable storylines, because no one is perfect. I would say Deadpool's got to be one of my favorite movies, because Deadpool just, like, for me, is perfect, where it's, like, it's actually hilarious. It can still tell a superhero story, you know what I mean? Because like superhero stories are kind of a joke at this point. You like know what's going to happen, and I can't really take like those kind of stories seriously anymore. So whenever it doesn't take itself seriously but still conveys the same sort of like story arc, I'm fine with that. And it was also like really, really violent, which I just like felt like kept my attention more, you know, like a rated R superhero movie. Same with like Blade. Even though Blade wasn't like comedic, I still felt like Blade is like one of my favorite superheroes, even though he's not necessarily like your conventional superhero, but he's just badass, you know? I used to fucking like love that, like when in the beginning where he fucking runs and jumps from like the one building and then just like he literally just like lands like, you know, lock-kneed. And I'm just like, how is his knees not bent backwards right now? Hulk Agents of Smash was a great cartoon. They should have kept it up. Damn. I heard you on Animated Series Hero on YouTube, and I'm like, that's my guy. Nice. Yeah, there's some channels that have reached out to me about animating my narrations. I'm just like, sure, just you know, let me know, or, you know, like, be sure to link my shit. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, that was pretty much like his role was perfect for that. Remember they brought Deadpool into one of that X-Men movie with Wolverine. I thought that was kind of weird because wasn't his mouth like covered over? Also, I wonder which actor played Deadpool in that. Oh, they even made fun of that one in the newer Deadpool, like a fourth wall breaking thing, which I thought was great. You love Blade. Club Blood was so rad. Yeah, I love that fucking like blood rave song. And then fuck, I'm pretty sure little Uzi Vert actually did like a music video for one of his songs that was like pretty much the same storyline of the opening of Blade, where like the one girl takes her boyfriend to this like rave, and then everybody turns out to be vampires and they want to, you know, kill him. And I don't know if it's him that's like fighting people off with like, you know, swords, or if he's just watching it from a distance, but it was pretty sweet. Let's Read.official, my Instagram it is. Yeah, Let's Read.official is my Instagram, and Let's Read Creepy is my Twitter. And join the Discord, all that good stuff. What? Yeah, Wesley Snipes. It was weird. I know he had like tax evasion issues, which pretty much like fucks your life forever, but I would have liked to have seen him in more stuff. Fucking, what's that movie? New Jack City. That was sick. I like New Jack City. Arian Landreth with the 5. So thanks for the stream. I'm drinking and this is such a good time. Nice. I'm glad you're having a good time. The evidence against him was so compelling that Edward didn't dare deny that he'd murdered Ashley, and tried to fall back on a claim that it was simply an accident. His defense attorney had the gall to admit that Edward had a series of choices that makes this case look real bad, but that ultimately Ashley's death was purely accidental, and that his client should be Kleinland. What the fuck's wrong with me? Ryan Reynolds was Deadpool in X-Men. See, was that a coincidence? Was that a coincidence, or was that like... Because, I mean, I was going to say, like, he looked a lot like that guy, right? With, like, the long, like, sort of lean, muscular body, but, like, he didn't have any thing to say because his mouth was, like, you know, was sewn over or whatever. But then he was like, oh, I can't say a whole lot now, or whatever Wolverine said. But the only reason I thought he said that was just hearkening back to, like, concepts within the comic book of Deadpool being kind of like a fucking troll. You know what I mean? Am I my brother's keeper? I don't make mistakes, only happy little accidents. Yeah, that's what we should have told Randall. Ryan didn't get any say in that character? Well, it was really strange. Like, I mean, was he not? I mean, I guess, like, he was kind of on his up and up as far as, like, acting goes, but it's just, like, really strange that he got that role, but, like, as being Ryan Reynolds, but, like, didn't actually get any lines as that character. So it's just like so coincidental. I don't know. Maybe it's not coincidental. Yeah, there's no coincidences. Squawk. He had to pay to get the CG shots used in Deadpool to get Fox to greenlight the new movie. Oh. Man, yeah, that's so annoying where in like one studio owns it and then the others have to, I don't know, like because isn't that what fucked over the new Spider-Man or something? But then that's gonna be a-okay now with the new kid. I forget his name. Who's listening on now with socks on? Oh, my socks are fucking on, bro. Strapped in, buttered up. He married his crack pipe. Wait, was Ryan Reynolds addicted to crack? That would suck. He looks fucking good, isn't he? Isn't he quite old now? Not quite old, but like, you know, at an age where he shouldn't look how he looks. I guess that's how all actors are. Oh, 44. I guess that's not... Honestly, I feel like a lot of men, like, especially if they have the appropriate, like, training regimen, can look fucking... I mean, pretty much anybody can, but a lot of guys, I guess, just... It's a little bit more conventional, like, to look good into their... I mean, like, I could see Ryan Reynolds looking good into his fucking 50s, you know? Like, almost not even be able to tell he can age. Same with fucking Will Smith. Like, Will Smith... I think we talked about this before. Yeah, Will Smith is fucking 52. Will Smith is 52. And only now does he kind of, like, look a little bit older. But I think that's, you know, that's on a day where he just, like, just woke up out of bed and hadn't done, like, a 10-mile run yet. I'm simping. Hancock was a good movie, though. Tom Holland. Yeah, thank you. I saw Tom Holland was going to be playing like a younger, you know, Drake. What's his name from like Uncharted? And I was like, that's not going to work, man. It's just not going to work for me. Do they need a movie? I mean, the games were pretty much like movies, and Hollywood always fucks up video game movies. I mean, look at the new Monster Hunter movie. Also, my friend told me, and this could be bullshit, but maybe you guys can verify. I was like, why the fuck are there so many, like, random movies? I don't know, that, like, especially, like, video game movies and stuff, like, they end up at least in this circumstance with fucking Monster Hunter, they don't follow, like, if you played Monster Hunter, it's pretty much just like, you know, I've talked about this before, it's anime, right? It's anime fucking, it's just an anime. And then the movie is like, oh, it's like military goes through a time portal and now they fight the monsters from the video game. Like some complete idiot wrote the script and didn't have any idea what Monster Hunter is all about. And then, but then I'm like, why? What is this? But then I come to find out that apparently the Pentagon in the United States here actually like gives out funding for Hollywood productions if they paint the United States military in a positive light. And it's really interesting to me because what ends up happening is then they get to use, you know, like the fucking Humvees with the 50 cals, all the authentic equipment and all this bullshit for like free. And I'm just like, what? All because they painted them in like a positive light. And I'm like, I almost feel like, couldn't you see like tons of mega, you know, mega movie budget like studios and stuff almost like going out of their way to like write scripts like that specifically just so they could get funding from the fucking Pentagon and get to use like sick ass trucks and shit. I don't know. Just seems, I don't know. The new Monster Hunter just looks like a complete fucking flop. It does suck. It does suck. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but it does suck that Hollywood is just going so fucking far downhill. Like, I almost feel like I would just prefer, like, indie projects from now on out. You know what I mean? Oops. Oh, sorry, Pradeep. Paul Rudd has owned my heart since Clueless. Yeah, Paul doesn't age. Paul Rudd does not age. And he just looks like a fucking angelic being, dude. They fucked up Death Note. Wasn't that, yeah, on the show? Yeah, what did they do with Death Note? I guess, yeah, they just changed it up, right? The anime, that was one of the animes that I actually watched. And I watched it like every day after I get home from the bar, you know, working. I would just go, oh, Bianca, hello. Long time. What the hell? How are you? But yeah, I would go watch Death Note after I got back from working as a doorman. And there was like, I think there was like 27 episodes, 24 episodes, I forget. But it's like every episode of the Death Note anime, I was just strapped to my seat. Like, I need to know what fucking happens next. This guy's a fucking genius. Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, you know, I like Pirates of the Caribbean, but as it went on, I was like, is there even a storyline to this anymore? I mean, I guess they just kind of make shit up as they go, but I think I've watched like the first two, and then I saw like the fifth one in theaters for whatever god reason, And it was just like, I mean, I think it was kind of cool because they fought inside of like a huge cyclone, like a cyclone of water or whatever it's called, like a whirlpool. That was kind of neat. Have I seen the New Mutants? I have not. Happy to see I'm still streaming. Yep, we're just about halfway through this last story, but you know me, I get on my rants. Rebooting pirate franchise. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like it was endearing when it first came out because it just was what it was. And then like, but I don't really feel like the characters were strong enough that like when you create like random spin-offs of it or like continuations of it, like I know who Jack Sparrow is, but I don't really give a fuck about his character and who he is and anything like that. And all of the other side people, like including Orlando Bloom and I don't know, the guy with the monkey, I just don't know anything about them, you know what I mean, to like piece together any sort of semblance of continuity. Like I just don't care, you know, but it is what it is. His defense attorney had the gall to admit that Edward had a series of choices that makes this case look real bad, but that ultimately Ashley's death was purely accidental, and that his client should be shown a degree of leniency based on that fact, arguing for a conviction of involuntary manslaughter over first-degree murder. It seems the prosecutors had the upper hand, however, and opted for the cold and callous move of showing the jury some extremely graphic photos taken of Ashley's body in the hours after she was located and excavated. They pointed out the binding, the drugging, and the state of undress. State of undress? Is that a phrase? Okay, state of undress. Johnny Depp is your love. Yeah, Johnny, you know, I don't know. I remember like every time they asked, I feel like I've never like seen him in an interview and feel like I connected with him as a person, because like all of his interviews, he always just seems like he doesn't have time, you know, like he's, you know, you ask him, hey, have you watched your movie you made? And he's like, no, don't. I don't do that. I don't watch movies. I don't watch my movies. I can't do that. Okay. And it's just like, and to me, I think Johnny Depp, for me, like, because he is quite a bit older than me, and perhaps like when he was like on his up and up and perhaps a little bit more humble, you know, like perhaps a little bit more humble, like I miss that era of him. But like for me, my first impressions of him is he's just like the top tier, you know, the top tier actor or whatever that like doesn't have time for anybody, has to wear like sunglasses the size of his body to hide his identity in public. And those kind of people, like, they tend to like almost like their personality starts to erode from them because they have no desire to be in the public eye anymore, therefore not very like, I don't know, I don't feel very connected, and I just don't care. And it is what it is. Maybe that's how I'll be here soon when I get to 700,000 subscribers. I don't listen to my recordings. It's just not me. It's just not for me. You know, fuck it. Don't care. Don't talk to me in public. I'm gonna wear the fucking just complete blacked out trash bag on my body so you can't tell it's me. Bianca, merriest of Christmas to you. Merry, merry, merry. I sound like a YouTuber named Nightmare Tales. Nice. Yeah, being that famous does sound like a nightmare. For sure. For show. Do I play CSGO? I tried, but there was only one night where I actually like got to go with friends and played some rounds. And it was hard, you know, we did get some, you know, I did get some kills and stuff, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, this is kind of repetitive. Like, you plant the, you know, you go to plant the bombs, you defend a bomb, and you get taken out by a random sniper, and you don't know the spray patterns of the gun, and I don't know, I just did not give a shit. Once in a while, I do find myself going into, like, the team deathmatch mode or whatever, and just trying to, like, frag out there, but for the most part, I feel like CSGO was kind of before my interests. They pointed out the binding, the drugging, and the state of undress she was in, arguing that Edward hard-targeted a vulnerable, desperate young mother to enact his sick, depraved fantasies with. A girl he cared so little for that he couldn't even be bothered to dig her a proper grave. Finally, in a shocking display of desperation, Edward Bonilla actually took the stand in an attempt to convince the jury of what actually happened that night, that he and Ashley had their first... Wait, what is this fucking sentence? Finally, in a shocking display of desperation, Edward Bonilla actually took to the stand in an attempt to convince the jury of what actually happened that night, that he and Ashley had their first fate. First fate? First date? I'm just confused. What? Even if it is first date, why is that something he needs to convince them of? Oh wait, what actually happened that night? Oh, I see. Oh, God, I'm so bad at reading or understanding or comprehending any English words. Finally, in a shocking display of desperation, Edward Bonilla actually took the stand in an attempt to convince the jury of what actually happened that night, that he and Ashley had their first date. According to him, Edward had been to a party at his brother's house on the evening in question, where he had drank heavily to give him the Dutch courage needed to actually meet the girl that he had been talking to for at least a month. Somehow an argument had broken out when Ashley accused him of having stolen her mother's cell phone, one that was so intense that Edward thought it best to leave the residence to drive back home. He got back into his car before he found that he needed to use the bathroom, and as he attempted to get back out, he accidentally stepped on the gas, lurched forward, and hit Ashley with his front bumper. This made an already ferocious Ashley explode with anger, and she began to violently kick and punch the car's chassis. I think it's chassis, right? Oh shit, Vixa with the Force is 69 mistakes. Now I will make no more mistakes.
Chassis.
Chassis. Who's gonna name their first daughter Chassis after their favorite vehicle? Thank you, Vixa. Chassis. Oh, that's right, chassis, ain't it? This made an already ferocious Ashley explode with anger, and she began to violently kick and punch at the car's chassis. Edward claimed all he was doing was trying to defend himself and his property when he put her in a chokehold that was a little too tight, and was so scared that he didn't realize that he'd cut off her... Motherfucker, god damn it. 2020 has been a mistake. What's my favorite name for a dog, and what's your favorite name for a cat? Maybe like Pradeep and Dog Deep. Edward claimed that he was doing... Edward claimed all he was doing was trying to defend himself and his property when he put her in a chokehold that was a little too tight, and was so scared that he didn't realize that he'd cut off her oxygen and killed her until it was way too late. It was only then that the was... God, there's so many random, like, grammatical errors that I just can't fucking find a rhythm. Okay. Bork deep, yeah. It was only then that he was filled with panic and remorse, acting on pure animal instinct when he drove her body out into the woods and buried it in the shallow grave it was found in. But Edward also admitted under questioning that the electrical tape was present around Ashley's neck because he had taped a plastic bag around her dead... Fart and shit. Anybody ever fart and shit? But Edward also admitted under questioning that the electrical tape was present around Ashley's neck because he had taped a plastic bag around her head because it was bleeding and he didn't want to get blood on his upholstery. He also inexplicably... Oh, I am burnt. I am burnt. I am burnt by the sun. He also inexplicably told the jury that he had then dropped her off at a gas station before sending himself fake messages on the Kik app using Ashley's phone in a foolish attempt to create a kind of alibi for himself. It never entered my mind to harm someone, he told the courtroom. It was an accident influenced by the way she was acting. But the jury saw through Edward's sickeningly transparent attempt at diverting away the blame from himself and twisting the nature of Ashley's death in order to save himself the harshest of sentences. If all he had done was choke her, why was she bleeding from her head? Why were there muscle relaxants in her... Why were there muscle relaxants in her system that evening, and why was it that fucking shit? Oh, dude, I don't know. It's like, I don't think these are written badly at all. I just, for some reason, when do you ever like stare at words and then they all jumble together and then they start laughing at you and they like pull your pants down and give you a wedgie and just like fucking start beating you up and calling you little. Do paragraphs ever do that to you guys? Why were there muscle relaxants? Why can I say this word? Muscle relaxants. Isn't it relactants or relaxants? What? Well, fuck, mate. Relactants. Muscle. Let's see. Muscle relaxants? That's it. That's fucking it. Oh my god, it's Christmas. Oh my god, it's Christmas. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do to Santa? What are we gonna do to Santa when he gets here? Are we gonna fucking tickle him? What do we do? We have to board up. Guys, if you have a chimney, I suggest right now boarding it up. Board up your fucking chimney because Santa is fucking coming in your house. And honestly, this year, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's been reports that he's lost his fucking mind. And he is feeling a little frisky. If all he had done was... Dude, it's like... Right? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Why were there muscle relaxants in her system that evening? And why was it that her wrists were bound? Just like Edward's initial police interviews, there were far too many inconsistencies and far too many unsubstantial explanations for the jury to give them the benefit of the doubt, and they found him guilty of first-degree murder, with a judge then sentencing him to life in prison without parole. What Edward and Ashley's terrifying encounter proves is that there are people out there, predators like Edward, who hunt those too weak and desperate to resist their entrapment. Edward spent an entire month learning about Ashley, discovering her need for a man in her life, sniffing out her neediness like a shark smells a drop of blood in ocean waters. Sorry, this is like what I imagine, like this paragraph here describing Edward guy is like exactly what I imagine like the prosecutors like saying to the jury to really like fucking hone their case. What if whoever wrote this actually copied exactly what they said and put that? That would be pretty cheeky. Edward spent an entire month learning about Ashley, discovering her need for a man in her life, sniffing out her neediness like a shark smells a drop of blood in ocean waters. And when he couldn't wait anymore, he struck. What's more, Edward was so narcissistic and sociopathic that he seemed to genuinely believe that he could talk his way out of it. He actually seemed to convince himself that his peers would come to imagine the events that date night. He actually seemed to convince himself that his peers would come to imagine the events of that date night in whatever way he painted them. We can only thank God that they didn't, and that they were able to see through his lies and put a violent, sadistic, and perverted predator where he belongs, in a jail cell, never to see the light of day again for as long as he lives. Can I read George Lucas's prequel dialogue and save it? And save it? And click the save button? 79, 10 more than 69 mistakes tonight. What George Lucas prequel dialogue? What are you talking about? Like with Jar Jar Binks? Dude, they should make a whole movie with Jar Jar Binks. That would be so sick. A lot of people didn't like Jar Jar Binks. I fucking love Jar Jar. I was totally under the interpretation that he was like secretly the reincarnation of Darth Sidious. And I don't think he was. Well, he didn't go that direction, but he could have been. He could have been. All the Edwards you know are in their late 30s. I feel like if someone's going to be named Edward, they're probably from Jersey, and they probably go by Eddie. You know what I mean? Like they probably, like when they're young, they probably go by Eddie. Also, I kind of feel like if you have a kid, you should give them a name that can evolve. You know what I mean? I wouldn't name them Richard because people call them Dick, but like Richie, you know, if you had a Richie, or if you named him Richard and you called him Richie. But I mean, like, I always found it funny that they called Richard Dick. That's hilarious to me. But aside from that, you know, you got, what do you got? Like, you got Charlie, can be, when they're young, they can be Charlie, or they can be Chuck, or Chucky, or and Charles when they get old. You know what I mean? They're the variations. Or like William can be Billy when they're little, and then they become Bill when they're fucking man, and then they become William when they're old. It's like a Pokemon. They evolve. Their name evolves. And sometimes they have a mega evolution, and they're called Wet Willy. And they, you know, they may or may not run around their nursing home completely nude with their Wet Willy swinging around. But it's neither here nor there. You actually got to meet Emperor Palpatine? Dude, that guy's a badass, dude. He's a pretty cool actor. Can't be Chucky? Why not? Oh, like the doll. Alright, I'm going to read this outro. Somebody think of something good. Anthony is a good one, yeah. Well, I guess it can be Tony, right? It can be Tony when they're little. And they can be Tony when they're older and they're part of like a mob, like a gang mob that works for sanitation in town. And their last name is Soprano. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/letsreadofficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read... Sorry. Do a scary ho, ho, ho. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data. Located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... Ho, ho... No, I don't want to do that. Anals. Don't get lost in the annals of time. Will I edit this into a video? I will, yeah. I have a different mic that was recording this the whole time that I will edit all the files in there. Dave, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Jar Jar sounded like... Oh, well... I don't know, I thought Jar Jar was cool. There's actually a sad story with Jar Jar's actor. He got a lot of shame for playing Jar Jar. It's really sad. But, you know, me when I was fucking 12 watching, you know, Star Wars Episode 1, I didn't think of any of that shit. But it's whatever. Anals, the anals, spinal. Don't get lost in the anals of time. Yeah, I'll say that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, not to get lost in the anals of time. You have a story to share but don't have Reddit, where can I send it? You can send it to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. That's linked down below. And yeah, it's pretty easy to create a Reddit account. Like, you don't need to verify your email or anything. You just create it. You can use whatever, and you know, because a lot of people create throwaway accounts, you know. But yeah, guys, Merry Christmas to all of you. I was 12. Yeah. Dude, it was sick though, because when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, which is the one with Jar Jar, and that, you know, the trequel, I guess that was probably like 2001, 2002 or something like that. And I remember they were doing these things with like Pepsi cases or whatever, where like each month or whatever, or depending on which product it was like Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi. It was pretty popular, but basically they just like had all the characters like faces on the different cans, and you had to collect the cans. But then some of the cases had a fucking gold Yoda. Yeah, it was fucking cool. They had a gold Yoda can with the Pepsis. Well, actually, I don't know if it was just random, but basically it was my motherfucking birthday, and my brother went to get a drink out of the fridge and pulls out a fucking gold ass Yoda and was like, "Happy birthday, Joel." And I was like, what? This is a gold fucking Yoda. And I kept it, and it was really funny because I kept it in its like full contents on top of a shelf in my room, and it was on the top shelf, and I hadn't touched it for years, right? I just thought, oh, I'll just leave this can of soda on my fucking top shelf, things will be chill. And years later, without anybody noticing, since the shelf was probably like, you know, 8 feet tall or some shit, to get to the top part of it, like I finally got up there to like grab the can to take it with me. I don't even know. I wonder where that can is, honestly. Oh, that's sad I don't have it. But basically on that top shelf, I just like, there was all this just complete like solidified Pepsi juice that was so fucking old that it turned into like a concrete syrup, you know, where it was like still sticky, but it was like kind of thick and just operated as like just this concrete that held the can in place there. And then I was able to like grab the can and kind of like yank it off. It was like, you know, but then it was completely empty. It was still closed, but it was completely empty because of some process of magic science. All of the soda just like seeped out through like from the heat of multiple summers and everything, just like out of the bottom of the can. I have no fucking clue how. And it created you know, a new form of mortar that I think modern science needs to hear about, because it was pretty sick. But top shelf Yoda, baby. Hell yeah. It's where Yoda deserves. I kind of want to buy a baby Yoda like toy. I don't watch I mean, I watched some of the first season of Mandalorian, but something about like having a baby Yoda, you know, plushie sounds kind of cool, so I might do it. The soda did a David Blaine. Yeah, it just looked at me like, whoa, bro, where'd my sody pop go? I was gonna drink it after fucking 10 years. But guys, thank you again for an amazing stream. Merry Christmas to you. I hope all of you get to spend it with family or with people you love, or at least get to chat with them and tell them you love them. And if you haven't got a chance to do that, please do so either today at some point, or however you go about that. I hope you're staying safe and comfortable and happy and all that good stuff. You know, this is a time of year where it's good to make friends, be with family, and just, I don't know, be in love with life, you know. Grogu. Yeah, no longer Baby Yoda, he's Grogu. But yeah, Merry Jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I'll be seeing you all later in my fucking Discord. Maybe, actually. I might be editing. I'm not sure. I kind of have to move quick with this video because I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow. But anyways, I hope you stay safe out there and all that good stuff. Love you. Take care. Thank you guys so much for your generosity and all your kind words. I really appreciate it. And I shall see you. Oh, yeah. So sorry, I always have to say this. But yeah, the video will be edited and up on Patreon first. So it's only $1 a month over there, or $10 for a year. And then it will be up on YouTube today at 7 p.m. at the normal time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as usual. Wait, is Christmas on a fucking Friday? Wow, that's kind of cool. So that's neat. But yeah, you're welcome, and thank you guys. So much love to you, and I shall see you again soon.